All right, what is up, everybody? So I think the stream is going. Let me pull it up on my other monitor here. Let's see if it's actually started. Hey, there I am. Awesome. Let's see what's up. All right, so what's going on, everybody? What is going on? Same thing as last week. We're gonna really just be kind of just chilling around for the first, 15 to 20 minutes. Let me disable chat so nothing crazy pops up. All right. Ooh, level 28. Yikes. I am too low for this area. Cool, thank you. Oh, I disabled chat too. There we go. One of the downsides. So we've got a couple things on the agenda today. The what we're gonna work on for the most part today is just gonna be come back here. There we go. Don't want to get too close to that basilisk. We're gonna mainly be focusing on tribal officer tonight. I think that'll be our main focus. And then I have one story that I'm like halfway through, or maybe, I don't know, 40% through, Solomon's Hotel, and we will finish recording that before the night's over. And then I might put down a little super chat goal and see if we can do that. And I will fill y'all in on how that'll work when we get more people in here. Charon's Tales. Just popping in to say thanks for having me on the travel story and saw you were streaming. Awesome, Charon. Thank you for hopping in. Hopefully we get quite a bit of Tribal Part 2 recorded tonight. I would really like to get, I'd like to get at least an hour of that done. I should be streaming for, well, we'll stream for at least 2 hours tonight. Probably a little longer. And if we stream for 2 hours, hopefully we get an hour of it read. Because y'all know how long that one takes to actually put together with all the voices and back and forth and whatnot and everything. You know, you can work on it for an hour, but only get 20-25 minutes of it done sometimes with how that one works. Just another Cisco. Good to see you in here, my friend. Nikki, shalom. You're here early tonight, I see. Oh, please don't die. Oh my gosh, I'm so dead. Isn't the walk back so far? Oh, the walk back is actually not bad. Thank goodness. I know, I shouldn't even be trying to do this quest. I'm way too underleveled for it. Nikki London, UK, I have been great. And how have you been? It's good to see you in here. You know, you take your little hiatuses every now and then, I don't see you for a while. But yeah, I love to see you. I love to see you in here. You've been around. Nikki is just like Mandizzle, y'all. She has been here since probably before even 1,000 subscribers, to be honest. I mean, her and Mandizzle have been on the channel when I was getting 100 views a video. All right, you see this. The problem with this one is that the mobs here are so dense, and everything's way above me in level. Zachary, what's up, Kevin? At work, can't chat, but I'm listening. Well, it's good to have you in here, Zachary. Good to see you. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't... Oh, shoot. I don't have the screen. Let me change that. Y'all still have just the thing. There we go. I meant to put this up a while ago. I was playing this game and nobody could even see it. All right. Yeah, I'm hopefully the thank you, Cisco. Thank you for the gifted membership. Thank you so much. Monkey Ape received a gifted membership from Cisco. So I do have a couple things I want to announce tonight too. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, I'm playing Classic WoW Anniversary Edition. You know, this game was a huge part of my childhood growing up. Me and my dad played this game together. And yeah, I've been playing this game for like, good grief. I'm 32, started when I was 13. Gosh, that's crazy. Oh, maybe I was about 15. Because I was in like, I don't know, 7th grade. How old are you in 7th grade usually? I guess that's around like 14, something like that. 16, dang, I've been playing this for 18, 19 years. That's crazy. The stream quality, I think, is just gonna, I mean, it's just like last time. I mean, the stream quality doesn't even have to be good, because most of the time y'all just will see that I have the, you know, the story up that no one's reading. You know, I'll have the Google Docs up, and then I'll have all of the Audacity, you know, program up. So the stream quality doesn't even have to be that good, but it's gonna be sucky, because I kid you not, my actual Wi-Fi, I ran a speed test right before the stream. My Wi-Fi was 2.04 Mbps download, and my upload was like 3.2. So, yeah, I'm on my hotspot again. My hotspot came in at 21 download and 10 upload. So, hopefully that's good enough. Since I have the stream quality so low, hopefully everything should be all right. Hopefully we don't run into any buffering issues. Oh man, he invited me to a group and I gotta bounce. All right. Well, we'll play WoW for like 10 or 15 more minutes, and then while we're still, we got 10 people in here now. Hopefully we hit around 15, 20, something like that. So we'll be in here. We'll be in WoW for like 10 or 15 more minutes. It's awesome that I got a quest buddy in here now too. Diablo was my vice. Oh, Nikki, I never actually got to play Diablo. And you know, I wish I played the earlier versions of Diablo, because Diablo is just trash now, because it's just a pay to win game, which is super disappointing. Yeah, Cisco, that is very slow. Am I supposed to be planting seeds here? No. All right, if this guy's not going to kill shit, then we're just going to get out of here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Diablo has some of the coolest freaking cinematics in all of gaming history too. I used to play StarCraft when it came out. I've read a lot of the StarCraft books, Diablo books, and a lot of the World of Warcraft books. All right. Well, you know, I can't. Until our paths cross again. I can't type because I have that close. I'll just wave goodbye to him. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do about the internet on it. Well, okay, so you know, it is Wi-Fi, so it's gonna be slower than normal. What I need to do is this guy's just following me around now or something. What the heck? What I need to do is I actually need to go down to the router downstairs and buy an Ethernet cable and just plug a actual hardwire connection in to see what the internet speed is that's not Wi-Fi, And if that's somewhat decent, that'll tell me that the internet's not that bad, and it's just the fact that it's Wi-Fi and it's downstairs and I'm upstairs. Hopefully the internet's not really that bad. If it is that bad, or if it's not that bad, I'm gonna get like a repeater or whatever it is up here, like a wireless one that goes up here, and then I'll plug an Ethernet cable into it, because I'm not gonna drag an Ethernet cable all the way from downstairs to upstairs. That'd be horrible. Are you familiar with the Exploring series? It's mainly SCP narrations. No, I'm not. I played it when it came out on console, but haven't played anything since Doom came out of it. You haven't played anything since Doom? Do you mean games in general, Nikki? Because I could not go that long without gaming. Let me type that in real quick. The Exploring series. Let me look that up. See what that is. The Exploring series. Oh, that's a channel. Okay. Dang. So they do SCPs and they've got 1 million subscribers. You know, whenever I look up SCP channels, they usually are not very big channels at all. Like, they don't do very well. The views are low. That's impressive. Nikki, games at all. Damn. I played Doom on 2 floppy disks in '98 on Xbox in 2016 and never again. Man, I still got the N64 too, man. Playing. My mom and dad were obsessed with, I mean, they would play Mario on the Super Nintendo all the time. I mean, we're talking, they loved that, like, I don't even know what Mario it was, but it was like the main one, I guess you would call it, where you jump through the paintings and, like, you're in the palace, you jump through the paintings, go to different levels, lava levels, water levels, that snow level where you got the penguins. And people would always drop the penguins off the edge. Man, I'm a truck driver, and I'll tell you what, your stories have kept me going. Those longer ones that you have keep me up and entertained. Let me make it to my destination. That's awesome, Hunter. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that a lot. You know, I'm a delivery driver, so I do the same thing with listening to other people's creepypastas and scary stories. I do the same thing, man. Just listening to creepypastas and all that stuff while I'm out working, especially the longer ones. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Let's go ahead and let me log out. Exit game. We got this up here. Let me go ahead and start bringing up. Oh, geez. My Audacity wants to throw a fit right now. 1 second. My monitor is just like freezing, and I'm like, ugh. I mean, I have a lot of things running in the background right now, so let's just let it get itself together. Hopefully Audacity doesn't completely X out. Oh, cool. There we go. Let's go ahead and bring up. All right, get back to this. I used to love too the Donkey Kong. I think it was, man, was it Donkey Kong on the original Nintendo? Yeah, man, that game was. I don't even know how to explain it, but you know, you go through like the levels, and so many of them are on mine carts, and you know, get the nice man, dude. Childhood will just never hit the same. Even when you play those old games, it just never feels the same. All right, let me bring up Solomon's Hotel. Let me just save that just in case it crashes. When you have this many Audacity files up, it's never good. Okay, that's a member video that we recorded last week that I got to put out. Let's see. All right, let me go ahead also. Do I have to do it on my phone? Yeah, all right, give me 1 second and let me put something on the phone. Or we've got to now I gotta switch accounts. Go to Nightmares Nightly. Thank you for the jewels, Cisco. Man, do you do those long hauls, Hunter? I'm impressed, man. I could never be a truck driver. I would like the idea. I could do long destination drives. I just could never drive an actual truck like that. All right, so let's see what the goal tonight. We'll put it at 2 hours. And it's gonna say 10 super chats, but it's gonna be like the last one, like last week. If we can hit just $25, if it's super chats and memberships combined, just $25 worth of anything. If we hit that, what I'm gonna do is I've got half an hour of the next Welcome to Hell series I've been working on. And we only have one right now, but if y'all remember that Welcome to Hell Now Wait story I did about a month or two ago, that's going to be part of a new series I'm going to run that I'm writing, Welcome to Hell, and then it's all these lessons that you learned through hell before you can go to, paradise. I have part 2 written right now, and it's called Welcome to Hell, Now Integrate. Let me go ahead and show y'all the thumbnail for that too. I think I made it the other day. This video will this will come out maybe sometime this week. I'm not sure. Let's see. Anything on? All right, here we go. This is the thumbnail for the next Welcome to Hell. Welcome to Hell, Now Integrate. If we can hit that $25 goal, let me go ahead and post it. Welcome to Hell. A sneak peek, I'll call it. There we go. 2 hours. Like I said, it says 10 super chats, but it's just a $25, dono goal in general. If we hit that, I will play the first 30 minutes of that uninterrupted. And if it's not too late in the night, I'll just record the rest, or most of the rest. This will be a sneak peek for the people who actually make it to the live streams. A little bit of a treat for y'all, to the ones who show up, to the diehard fans or whatnot. Y'all get a sneak peek at the next Welcome to Hell series that'll come out. Maybe around Thursday or Friday, something like that. I'll play the first 30 minutes, record a bunch more, depending on how late it is. And I've also got something that I've been working on that I'd like to show y'all. Let's see. Peace out, Karen. I will definitely be having you on soon again. I just listened to Barnaby's last night. Oh, nice. Thank you, Nikki. That's $5 right there, man. Thank you. I just listened to Barnaby's last night. I love Barnaby's, but what drives me so crazy is how many times is how many times Barnaby's goes. And that's another story. I remember recording that, and this was like, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I almost never changed the author's words and stuff. But even if you listen to my version and hear that's another story, I cut out like half of those, and it was still too many. And I'm like, good grief. But Barnaby's is a freaking awesome story. Awesome. I loved doing that one. Yes, sir. I'm OTR. I go everywhere in the U.S. Wow. Like the military, hurry the fuck up and wait. Nice, yep. I just discovered Void of Rules. I like his. Yeah, Nikki, he's completely AI though, unfortunately. And I mean completely AI. I've talked to him, I've emailed him because he was ripping off my stories. You know what? I'll actually let me see this. I'll show y'all a thing real quick. So check this out. This is something that I put this at like the end of one of my videos a while ago. Some of y'all might remember it. This is Void of Rules. Have been doing this for months, and he has another channel called Void of Fears. I put together the folders labeled Copycat. Look at let's see if y'all recognize some of these titles. I worked at an afterlife call center. We help souls move on. Oh, guess what? That's a series I wrote. There's my thumbnail. I work at an afterlife call center. Autopsy of a Demon. Look at this. The Vatican asked me to perform an autopsy of a demon. That's mine. I woke up in the afterlife. This is how to survive hell. That's his. That's his. I'm a demon in college. Welcome to Hell's University. Another story of mine. There's my thumbnail. Let me zoom these in a little bit. There we go. I hunt cryptids. My partner is a skinwalker. This is his. Oh, what do you know? My exact title and thumbnail. I collect souls for the devil. This one is a preacher in hell. Y'all know my soul devil collection series with Mephisto. Look at that. Same title. Let's see. Oh, let me catch back up in chat. Sent Nightmares Nightly 1 gift memberships. Thank you, Lemming Bane. Thank you. Let's see. I can't wait for Mr. Grindless to do his Clowns of the Crypt series. Void of Rules Fears. I'm 100% sure we'll make it on there. I've been talking to Grindless too. Maybe he will, but he is like literally. These are all copycat thumbnails. I left multiple. Another story of mine. I left multiple messages on his YouTube videos calling him out on multiple different accounts that I have. This is mine. All right. Mine. I left multiple messages or comments on his accounts, no response. Gave him a long time. I sent him multiple emails. And I just hate fake ass people, man. Dexter, good to see you in here. I emailed him multiple times, and then I finally made my video. Well, I made it was just it wasn't. I made like a regular YouTube video with a narration, and then I just put all of these screenshots at the end, and then a bunch of people from my channel went ahead and left comments on his videos and on his channel, and then he finally started Then he finally emailed me back, and he was like, "Oh no, I don't do that. Oh blah blah blah. I'm sorry. Don't all that shit." And he's like, "I never saw your previous emails. Get the fuck out of here. I know you banned me I know you banned me from your comments. I know you saw my comments because you heart everyone else's and respond to everybody else's, but mine just disappear. So I know you banned me off of that. I know you ignore my emails, but now that I said something, you want to play all this bullshit games. He is 100% AI written stories, and he's an AI voice. So and guess what? This guy probably makes like $10,000 a month. So so it's ridiculous. Nothing you can really do about it. What is that piano melody you play at serious points in a story? There's two that I play. One is Silent Turmoil, but I don't think you're talking about that. I think you're talking about Shelter, where it goes doon 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 doon. That is, and then it goes da 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 da. That is Shelter. If you just Google or YouTube Shelter Mayu, it's one of my favorite stories, like favorite songs to put in stories. Period. I usually put it at the end of serious stories. Let's see. There's also another thing I want to tell you about. It's very, very early on. Let me get off this screen. This is so bright. There we go. It's very early on, but there's a sneak peek I want to maybe show y'all tonight. It's actually up here right now. So we got something that I'm working on. It's basically, if I can, if I can do it right. I used to love Goosebumps and R.L. Stine growing up, as I'm sure many of y'all probably did. And please let me know if the background music is too loud, but or if it's not loud enough. I used to love R.L. Stine and Goosebumps growing up, and I started rereading some books right now. I just reread Night in the Terror Tower, Welcome to Camp Nightmare, Welcome to Dead House. I just reread all those, and I was like, you know what? I've been writing for a little bit, and I write the older adult themed stories, and I was looking at these Goosebump books, and I was like, man, I would love to get into something like that, and maybe potentially write that 8 to 12-year-old horror right now. So I'm working on something right now. I'm only 1,000 words in, and R.L. Stine has his books are about 22,000 words. They're like 120 pages, but there's like 200 words on a page. I was like, you know what? Let me try my hand at this. It's a whole different kind of mindset. Because his stories are very, very short paragraphs. Like you'll see, a lot of dialogue. Every single chapter ends on like a mini little cliffhanger, with a scary moment. But then the very next word is like, okay, it'll end on like, where did my brother go? And then the next one is like, and then I turned around and walked around the hot dog stand, and oh, there he was. So I would like to do something like that. I think I can do it. I wrote these 1,000 words just today, like, I don't know, in like an hour. Well, it took me, I worked on the outline. I'm an outline person. I write a very, very detailed outline before I start. Usually the whole thing is completely planned before I do anything. But I'll write a very, very detailed outline, chapter by chapter or act by act or whatever. And maybe I can read this to y'all. It just depends. I don't know. None of this is set in stone. This is just what I threw together in like an hour today. But this is a potentiality that I'd like to do. Well, and this would also be, I don't know if I would read these on the channel because one, they're kiddie, so they're not really actually. There's no real. There's horror, but it's a different kind. It's for it's for kids. So this would maybe be something if I can maybe one day self-publish or something. Put these out on Amazon, put them on Kindle, and then sell these, to my audience and other people. And yeah, it would be great for. It's still fun for an adult to read, but I know a lot of my age, my demographic is in that like 35 to 45 range. So most of y'all, a lot of y'all have kids, stuff that y'all could buy, read to your kids, something like that. But we'll see, we'll see. I don't. It's not going anywhere yet. I just started on it. Have you any thoughts on The Curator? I don't know who that is. Man, I love your stories. The occult driver stories are great. Thank you, Brett. Let's see. All right. Let me get on this now. All right, let me go ahead. I gotta. Like I said, Audacity crashed a couple days ago, so I had to reopen everybody's voice line. Oh gosh, and his lines are not even on the right spot. This is gonna be so annoying. Okay. Vidith. I don't know if Vidith has any more line. I think he does somewhere. Let's see. Let me also. It's gonna change the playback.
All right.
There we go. Gosh, it put everybody back at the beginning. I'm sorry. That's gonna be a pain for y'all. While I at least Dexter's voice lines are where they should be. I think. All right.
Last
sweet.
session, you said.
Whispering Scream, I think, is in the right spot. I gave her the choice between playing Val or the corrections officer Val or the therapist Carrie, and she picked Carrie, which was the perfect decision for her voice. She's got that perfect therapy, calm down, take a breath, and listen to me kind of voice. The audacity of audacity. Tell me about it.
Fuck you.
All right. So, of course, that's the one word I play to try to see, make sure. I thought this was Jermaine's voice, but yeah. All right. He's Smith. It's got Charon right here. They put him back to the beginning. That should be everybody. All right, there's Welcome to Hell. I love working on the Welcome to Hell stories. Okay, now I have to just actually open up. Where is it? Of course, it's not up there. Yeah, this motherfucker got his own folder. Fucking. And then he had the audacity to fucking deny it. It's so ridiculous. Let's see. Recordings, Audacity, Tribal Jail Officer. Well, there's part 1. Give me a second while I find the. Let me just bring it on this monitor. Jeez, is it way back here? Yeah, look how big some of these files are too. I mean, 7 gigs, 3 gigs, 2 gigs is small, honestly. Come on. Tribal jail. Let's see. That's only 209 megabytes. That can't be it. Where the hell is it? Sorry for the dead air here, guys. Is it? Let's see. Come on. Come on. Final. I have so many different folders for all the recordings in here that sometimes it's like, where the hell did which one go? I mean, is it just... Ah, fuck, that's bright. Is it this? And as always. Yeah, see... I mean, did I just label it part 1, even though it's... No, because this is the finished part 1 file. Let's see. There's no way I put it in my my other drive, my external hard drive, did I? I just don't picture myself putting it there. That shit better not have just randomly deleted or something. That'd be crazy. Okay, is this it? There we go. And if I don't know what they did. We started the second session. Nope, that's... Oh, okay, that's right. Because I didn't actually... Wait, no. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry, guys. I really don't know where this file is. I don't know if... Alright, well, it's fine. I'll just have to... We started the second session. I'll just open up a new file, and then that's where we'll pick up. Turn that off. We started the... Alright, here we go. We started the second session. And then I'll just make this one. But I know that I saved 2 separate files for that, so I really have no idea where it went. Because actually, the reason why I'm messing up on this so bad is because I actually have like 7 or 8 minutes more recorded. But I had to pick a stopping point for the story to where I could do a part 1. And so I picked we started the second session to be the stopping point. So that's why it's kind of driving me nuts that I can't find where part 1 is. Yeah, see, that just doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, that's, we did that. Yeah, that is so weird. Anyways, I've been keeping y'all delayed long enough. We'll just, here we go. When she put me back under, she had me think back to when I ran into Smith and saw the guards pinned to the wall. You know, I gotta put my headphones on for this now, so I can listen to people's lines.
Last session, you said after you saw the lights went, I want you to tell me where the others went. Last session, you said after you saw the lights went out, I want you to tell me where the others went. Last session, you said after you saw the lights went out.
Yeah, see that. This line doesn't... This was written kind of weird, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Alright. Immediately after, I was back in that moment. I looked at Smith and looked around. Where is everyone else? The two bodies were still on the wall in front of us, but there was no sign of the group we were just with. Alright, then go to Dexter.
At the moment, there isn't even decoration. It's in the middle of a city. It's in the middle of a city. About 3 days.
It might not actually. Let's see.
See right here? When I picked you two up, I have no idea.
Okay, so we're not... He's not in the right spot, but that's not that far off. I think it's...
I have no... Let's go.
It's gotta be this.
Hey.
Nope.
Hey. Two.
Where the hell is it?
Still breathing. Who's still breathing? Two.
Alright, 2. There are a ton of 2s.
Get clear of the window!
Oh gosh, this is... Y'all see the struggles here. The group we were just with. Y'all see the struggles when the technology...
No clue.
There we go. Thank you. No clue. That's the phrase I was looking for.
There's not even a... There's not even a trace of anyone else.
I looked around and he was right. I looked behind us and there were faint footprints leading to us, but none going back or away from us. It's like they just vanished. Away from us. It's like they just vanished, I said. I could see the worry on Smith's face. He shook it off and looked up and down the hallway in front of us.
Hey. No clue. There's not even a trace of anyone else. Great reunion.
Alright. Dex, did Dex miss some lines or something, or?
Let's hope it's not on lockdown. Yeah. Let's hope it's not on lockdown.
Why is this spliced like
You
this?
okay? Hey. No clue.
No clue.
There's not even a trace of anyone else. No clue. There's not even a trace. Hey, you okay? Hey, you okay? Great reunion, but...
Why do the lines suddenly jump like that? Oh, he says no clue. Did he say no clue twice? Okay. All right. That's my fault. He says no clue twice. but it's in the script twice. I was looking at the first no clue, and then I was like, why does nothing line up after that? All right, thank goodness. I was like, that'd have been bad if that was all. So I had to find the second time he says no clue.
No clue.
There's another no.
There's
clue.
not even a... No clue. There's not even a trace of anyone else. No clue. I don't see anything in either direction.
All right, now I just got to go back and make sure that everything is. I looked around and he was right. I looked behind us and there were faint footprints leading to us, but none going back or away from us. It's like they just vanished, I said. I could see the worry on Smith's face. He shook it off and looked up and down the hallway in front of us. All right, awesome. Everything is fine and dandy now.
No clue. I don't see anything in either direction. Let's go. I don't see anything in either direction. Let's go.
All right, go back here.
Thing in either direction. Let's go.
I followed closely behind him and we made our way down the hallway. Everything went dark.
Last session, you said... Holy shit. Now go to where you left off last session.
This little kind of like hypnosis sequence is a little bit confusing to a listener. It's a lot easier when you read it, so there was no good way for me to like really edit this to make it clearly be delineated between, because he goes into hypnosis and he goes out and he's recounting memories and he goes in and out and in and out. So I was worried to the listener that this would be really confusing. I hope it isn't too bad, but there's nothing I can really do about it.
Where you left off last session.
Carrie said. I immediately snapped to the moment the door opened and we saw the trail. Hey, Smith, where are we exactly? Smith looked absolutely confused.
I have no idea. When I picked you...
He looked around before turning around and walking over the wall to our left. When
I picked you two up, I drove you to our office in the city.
He pointed at the emergency evacuation map on the wall in front of him.
See right here?
Will and I walked over to him. I immediately saw the "You Are Here" star right next to where the door read First Avenue.
I have no... This door is supposed to be used for emergency use only. It's red so that if you're inside, you know what doors lead outside. This is one of 3 doors that's also red on the outside so that first responders know where they can pull in. This door is...
All right, I like the first take. I don't need to listen to the second one. Thank you, Dex. So it leads to a trail? I asked. All right, bear with me. We're on Will. We have to find where Will's lines are. This is where you kind of just got to do some guesswork. So I'm like, all right, I'm halfway through the story. Maybe he's
They let us
somewhere
here.
around here. And then I'll go...
They were saying D is gonna die. It wasn't a message. It was a lit.
Here we go. Let's just pick...
D. Use your fucking head, Jay.
All right, so now how we find this is we just pick a sentence where it says, use your fucking head, Jay. And we go, we're on page 46 right now. Use your fucking... Holy shit, that's only on page 32. And then you're like, okay. Red, red, red. Oh, he doesn't have that many lines. We're actually pretty close. And we need to find, what's his line? That's pretty stupid.
What time do you have? Mine says... Yeah, I feel it too. Huh. Who are you supposed to... Who are you... Once. Get some sleep. It'll be okay. Holy shit, you're alive? Jay, the only thing I remember is falling asleep in the...
Alright. The only thing I remember... Okay, so we didn't scroll enough.
What is it? Yeah, but we could read those. I have no idea what it says. How is that possible?
Alright, so we just jumped a little bit too far.
That fucking idiot. Did you hear it that time, or... Did you hear that too? Well, that's not good. Did you hear that too? Are you stupid? That's a... Yay, Will. That's pretty stupid.
There we go. We found it. We're caught up on Will's lines. Let's see to do. That's too big. Gotta make that a little smaller. Alright, we're caught up on Will, so we have Will. Go back to this. I asked. So it leads to a trail? I asked. I asked.
That's pretty stupid.
Will added. That sounded my voice. What the fuck? You know what? I don't even need to say Will added. Everyone knows We Try Horror is Will, so that doesn't even need to be in there.
There isn't even decorative bushes or trees on any of the surrounding streets from this office. It's in the middle of a city, so no. At the moment, I have no fucking clue where we are now.
My ladies, Amanda, Allie, and Manic Cryptid. Good to see y'all in here. You did not miss basically anything. All I've recorded is 2 minutes of lines so far because Audacity crashed while not on screen, and I had to spend a lot of time literally just catching up whose lines were in what area. I'm here. I'm supposed to be asleep, but... Oh, that was a gross... I just had like a weird, like... That was like a weird, like, I don't know, stomach sound. The mic's very sensitive, so I'm sure y'all heard it. $4.99 from Amanda. Thank you so much, man. Dizzle, thank you. And thank you for being here. What is up?
No fucking clue where we are now.
Quick thing, we're going to work on Tribal Story for a while, then finish Solomon's Hotel, and maybe get a sneak peek at the next Welcome to Hell series. We went back to the door and looked outside. It was nighttime. How many days has it been since you picked us up? I asked. Smith hung his head and sighed. No, I said that the wrong way. Been since you picked us up? I asked. Smith hung his head and sighed.
It's in the middle of it. About 3 days. About 3 days.
Will looked at me and was clearly surprised by this. He asked where we were this whole time. See, I fucked up. I didn't properly highlight that, so I had to just make something up on the fly. We had you
in a medical holding area. While there, a series of tests were ran to make sure you were healthy.
And
We had you. Well, they all came back negative for any issues.
let's use the second one. Now I looked at my arms and hands, searching for any needle marks. I don't see any needle marks on me, so what kind of tests were ran?
We mainly ran sleep tests, scans of your brain. Leaves no physical marks, but lets us see if there are any issues. We mainly ran
Will cleared his throat and said what we were all thinking. Yes, Manic, if we hit like 10 more bucks, I think, between donos or memberships, we'll listen to the next Welcome to Hell. It's called Welcome to Hell, Now Integrate. I have half an hour recorded, and we may record the rest depending on how much time we get.
We need to stop procrastinating and go.
I was actually pleasantly surprised at We Try Horror's ability to drop his register a bit and play this part. Throat and
agreed.
Smith and I said. We stepped through the door and onto the trail. When we got about 30 feet from the door, we heard a loud... I thought I was going to say no, so I said it. We stepped through the door and onto the trail. We got about 30 feet from the door We stepped through the door and onto the trail. When we got about 30 feet from the door, we heard a loud clang.
No.
Smith whispered. We all turned around and expected to see the red door. What the hell? I asked. Seeing the door, even close, would have been better, but all that stood where the door should have been was more trees.
Well, that's not good. Did you hear that?
What made it worse was with the door open, there was a light source. Get a bomb, diggity, Dex. $2 from Dex. Thank you, my friend. Down with the copycat asshole. Keep being awesome. Thank you. You know you've made it on YouTube when you start to get copycats. There was a light source. Worse was with the door open, there was a light source. Now there was only darkness. What way do we go now? As the words left my mouth, I heard a loud crack in the distance. Will looked at Smith. And you know, what I would really like to get back to writing too is I haven't wrote a Dealmaker story in so long. I would love to write another Dealmaker. I just haven't had any time. You know, I have a lot of the next Elijah story done, but those ones take over like a month to write, like, because they're so long and they take a long time to outline. Once I have the outline done, I write it very quick, but they take a long time to work on. Will looked at Smith. Honestly, the Dealmaker stories might take the longest.
Did you hear that too?
And I don't know. Maybe Elijah takes longer because because I usually make those in like hour and a half. I don't know, an hour to 2 hours long. The Dealmakers take a long time to write though, because I always have a moral underpinning like philosophy in those, and those take just to even come up with a concept. Those take a long time.
Did you hear that too?
But if I can start to do better on YouTube, more views, stuff like that, then I can start to take off more time from the day job and start writing more. Let's see.
too?
Smith, who was pulling out his service pistol. That's a weird way to write that. Smith pulled out his service pistol and said, there we go, just switch it up to that. Like I said, I used to never change the words that are written, but sometimes when authors write, it's good to read, but it's not good to speak. So sometimes you just got to do minor tweaks.
Sure did.
He turned on the flashlight and illuminated a group of large rocks a little ways in front of us. Ah, fuck, I keep getting all these heart palpitations. Anybody in chat get heart palpitations? Because they drive me I hate them. They drive me insane. And they don't affect me, like, physically. They just are, like, terrifying. I get a lot of PVCs. And they get worse. They're worse when I talk. Like I think I have a vagus nerve problem because they happen more when I talk or when I take a deep breath or when I eat like a big meal and I'm like bloated or something. Group of large rocks a little ways in front of us. Oh yeah, then it's all right. It's Dexter's turn.
You two take cover there. I'm gonna scout ahead.
I don't know, Ali, Manic, is that in response to me or whatever y'all are talking about? Thankfully, my blood pressure's good. All that stuff's good. I wore a heart monitor for 2 weeks. The doctor's like, your palpitations are completely benign. There's nothing wrong. Like I said, I have no side effects with them. It's horrible, like feeling your heart stop beating for a second.
Gonna scout ahead.
Are you stupid? That's a terrible idea. We're in the middle of the forest, don't know where we are, have been experiencing completely unexplainable things, just heard a loud crack, and your idea is to just run off by yourself and see what's ahead of us?
Yeah, the palpitations are so annoying. So annoying. I can't stand them. Ugh. All right, Amanda, thank you for joining us, even if only for a little bit. You get some sleep, take care of your body, get some good rest, and be ready for work. Well, oh, sorry to hear that, Manic. Thankfully, they don't do anything to me. Allie, so I've never had anxiety in my whole life. But then my dad passed away from a heart attack 1.5 years ago. And my palpitations started like 6 months after that. And the doctor keeps saying that it's anxiety, your dad passed, all that stuff. They're like, you're hyper aware of your heartbeat now, so that's a big thing. Everyone has palpitations. Most people just don't feel them. I'm one of the people that just feels them all the time. And yeah, so they keep saying that they're anxiety related. But I have no real anxiety. Except for, I guess, what happened. Yeah, I hope all y'all in the chat are okay. I can only see part of the messages because I'm reading the story, but I'm catching some. And Manic, Allie, everybody, hope y'all are doing good. Dex, I hope your bad news isn't too bad. I hope everything's all right with you too, my friend.
What's ahead of us?
I could barely see Smith's face in the faint moonlight, but he looked embarrassed.
Besides, do you know where that sound came from or what made it? I know I sure as hell don't. Jay, do you?
I'll need to look into that. I know I can't do any breathing exercise that requires deep breathing, because deep breathing actually makes the palpitation happen. I think they said that they're PVCs, which is different from PACs. But if I take like a big deep breath, I'll trigger one, and my heart will stop and then, thump on the next beat. Deep breaths do it. Talking does it. I think it's a vagus nerve thing, because I've read a lot with that, but a lot of doctors don't really buy into that. Let's see. Tribal jail officer. Fuck, I can't spell apparently. Part 2. Oh, I'm sorry, Cryptid. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, God bless you, Dex. I'm glad your pops did. We don't even really truly know if it was a heart attack. We think it was. You know, his one of his arteries was almost completely blocked, but then he got stents put in. He was great for like 2 weeks, and then he just dropped in the backyard instantly. It's either that the stent didn't work, and he just had a heart attack anyways, or that he had a blood clot, and that could have killed him. We don't really know, because an autopsy is like $7,000. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Your dad would have been 85. My dad was 58 when it happened. I'm glad you got a lot of time with him.
Hey, do you?
I hadn't seen Will this worked up before, and it took me by surprise. No, I don't. Smith, he makes a good point. My dad was literally my best friend. He was the coolest fucking guy on the planet. I was interrupted by the sound of heavy footsteps approaching us from the rear. Smith, let's see, he says shush. Yeah, he was the coolest fucking guy you could imagine.
Shh. 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 Shh.
Let me just say, Smith shushed us. Smith shushed us. Shushed us. I'll put a T on the end for some reason. Smith shushed us. Fuck, say that 5 times fast. Yeah, no kidding. I was like, Dad didn't even get to retire yet. Ridiculous. Smith shushed us. Smith shushed us. As quietly as we could, we rushed to the rocks and attempted to hide. When I got behind the rock, I felt Will grab my shoulder and kneel next to me. I actually went by my parents' house today, because my brother moved back into the house with Mom, because she's all alone, and they've been cleaning out all my dad's stuff and all that, everything, My mom is like, throw it all away, I don't want to be remembered about it. My mom's not sentimental. She's like, throw all of his stuff away. And I'm like, no, give me everything. And my brother keeps stuff, and he does that. And I'm like, listen, I'll take Dad's fucking used, tissues. I don't care. I want anything Dad even touched. If he touched it, I want it. Don't throw anything from my dad away. So I got a ton of his stuff. I just picked up like 10 of his fishing poles the other day. Then today we went through his stuff, and I picked out a bunch more things. A lot of old family videos. My dad recorded our whole childhood, so that I have maybe 40 mini DV tapes. Those mini VHS tapes, and then everyone has a whole bunch of pictures, everything.
Hello.
We sat there and listened as the footsteps walked right up to the rocks we were behind. I placed my hands over my mouth and held my breath. After a few seconds, I heard the sound of footsteps walking away. Will and I sighed. "Where's Smith?" I asked, noticing there was only Will with me. Will felt around. I actually need to take my second. I'm on metoprolol now, a little beta blocker to help with the palpitations, because that helps a lot. I have no blood pressure, stuff like that, but it's like a blood pressure, heart relaxing medicine, and that makes most of the palpitations go away. Let me drink some water. I am dehydrated today. That makes it worse. Yeah, I know, when a week after he was gone, she wanted to just throw everything away. And I kept telling her, no, you're just really sad right now, and you don't want to be remembered, and you don't want it to be real that he's gone. So I kept telling her to keep everything, and I was just taking everything I could get my hands on. Because, yeah, you're right, Alex. She will want it later. Exactly. Ew. Sorry, I swallowed a bunch of air and it just came up.
That fucking idiot.
I just chugged a whole bunch of water. Let's see. Just then, we saw a light shine from where we were gathered. I listened in horror as the footsteps went from walking to running. Bang! Smith's first shot rang through the air. I always feel so, lame reading, onomatopoeias out, but, what can you do? He missed and hit the tree behind me and Will. Bang! Bang! And 2 more shots missed their mark. The footsteps echoed through the forest. Why? I whispered. What the fuck? Is Smith shooting us right now? Is Smith shooting... Dexter! Why the hell are you shooting us, bro? I'm on 25 of metoprolol 2, although my doctor told me to take half a pill twice a day, so I take just that 25 total a day. Y'all are reading the story the first time. I haven't finished this story. I haven't read this story either, guys. I've just went through and highlighted, and that's it. And I'm just hoping it's a good story. So if the ending sucks, I'm sorry. I'm sorry y'all invested so much time into this. I'll find out with you, and I'll be pissed, because I put 50 hours of work into it. I whispered. Jay will return. The woman's voice echoed in my head. Will looked at me. Maybe I should say that in a woman's voice. Jay will return. The woman's voice echoed in my head. It sounded kind of lame, but it's all right. Will looked at me. Echoed in my head.
Did you hear it that time, or was it like a message implanted? Let's go.
Excuse me. We tried fucking... was that really the next fucking line? That is hilarious.
Was it like a message implanted?
Implanted, I said. Bang! Another shot rang out. The footsteps stopped and were followed by a soft crunch and a moan. I actually wanted to, do the stream with a Diet Coke, but I was like, if I bring a Diet Coke in here, they're so fucking carbonated, I'm going to be burping in y'all's ears all night. Crunch and a moan. Will nodded at me, and we both peeked over the rocks. I saw the dark shadow of something huge standing where Smith was. It threw something to the ground beside it. I heard a loud growl before it ran off, joined by 3 other figures, each one more imposing than the last. More imposing than the last.
Let's go,
Will said, grabbing my shoulder. I stood up and we ran towards where Smith was. The sun was rising and the light barely pierced through the dense trees, but enough to see the scene before us. Smith was on the ground next to a tree, his body broken, and the look of pure horror would remain on his face until it was no more. Why'd you do this? I asked the body in front of me. Oh, wait. Oh, Smith wasn't shooting at us, he was just shooting at somewhere else? Damn, Dex, did your guy just die? That's sad. Oh yeah, this is your... Oh, Dex, did I listen to this? What did that was your last line? I didn't even know. All right, let's see. What did Dex leave us? Oh. Okay, that was good. Oh man, yeah, guys. Everyone sent me these like a month ago, so that was funny. Oh my goodness, I haven't heard that one yet because I never got to the end of Dexter's lines. The body in front of me. Will stood there solemnly.
He was doing what he thought would give us the best chance.
I thought Dex was shooting at us, and he was actually like saving us. I nodded slowly. Rest easy, Agent Smith. After a moment of silence, Will nudged my arm.
Let's find some down branches and at least cover him until we can get in contact with the crew to come back for him.
All right. I looked around and gathered a couple of branches. When I reached down to grab the last one, I dropped the rest on the ground. Hey, Will, look at this. I wiped away some moss to reveal deep carvings of straight lines. It didn't look like runes, numbers, or letters. What is it? Oh, Will says that, my bad. You know, I've been doing this story now for so long, and We Try Horror is Will, and Will has such a big part in this story that I keep thinking fucking We Try Horror's real name is Will.
What is it? Yeah, but...
I keep thinking his actual name is Will. No idea. But doesn't it look like the same kind of style as the carvings on the tree in the clearing?
Yeah, but we could read those. I have no idea what it says.
I looked closer at it and realized that there was a piece missing. It looks like it broke in half long ways and is missing the rest. Try and see if you can find the rest of it. Will nodded and... Shit, there we go. I fucked that up. Will nodded and began to look around where we were. It didn't take long.
Found it.
I put the pieces together and could clearly read the inscription now. It's the rules Smith wrote.
How is that possible?
No idea. I think we need to... I was cut off by a piercing high pitch ringing in my ears. Then everything went black. When I woke up, I was sitting in a chair. Will was right next to me and looked concerned. Oh, just so fill y'all in, I had no idea, but since I got like rehooked into the Goosebump books, I found that there is a Scholastic-Goosebumps channel, or it's the other way around, and it just plays fucking Goosebumps, old Goosebumps 24/7. Let me double check to see. Oh look, I'm looking at it right now. Yep, right now it's playing. I don't know which one this is. They're on a bus. There's a blonde girl and a fat kid in an orange shirt. But I thought that was super cool. Yeah, Goosebumps-Scholastic. I was like, wow, I'm gonna start putting this shit on at night, just to fall asleep to. Now let me bring this back up. There we go.
Hey, Jay, you good?
I rubbed my eyes and took in my surroundings. Yeah, I'm all right. Where are we? The choose your own adventure books were super cool. There was also one of my big authors when I was a kid was R.L. Stein, you know, but and then when I was like 12 or 11, it was an author named Bruce Coville. I read a lot of the books that he wrote. But you know, I grew out of those like young books like really early. Like when I was like 11 and like years old, like reading like Harry Potter, and even when I was like 10, I was like reading like the Artemis Fowl books, the Ender's Game books. Like I've always been like 5 or 6 years above like whatever the normal reading level was.
The hospital. At least, I think.
I remember being in 5th grade, and I gave a book report on Artemis Fowl, and everyone was doing like 2 or 3 minute book reports, and I did like a fucking like 20-minute book report. Like the book was so cool. I kept going. I had note cards in my hands I didn't even use, and I just fucking like told the whole story over. And my teacher didn't even stop me. Like he knew that was going way too long, and he just let me go. Ooh, Keeper, you read the Artemis Fowl books? Yes, someone else. I think there's like 7 books, alley oops. Yeah, I reread the Artemis Fowl books as an adult. I love them so much. I've read the Artemis Fowl series like 3 times. Like I think there's 7. They did make Artemis Fowl a movie, but it was the dumbest fucking movie like you've ever seen. I'm gonna be honest. It was not a good movie. Not a good movie, which was such a disappointment because the books were so cool.
Think the hospital. At least, I think the hospital.
Just then, a man in a suit walked up to us. Will, Jay, come with me, please. I was about to ask the man who he was and where we were, but Will elbowed my arm and shook his head. We stood up and followed him down the hall. We passed several rooms that looked like enough. Nope, that's not what it was. We passed several rooms. You know, I just gotta make sure. We stood up and followed him down the hall. We passed several rooms that looked enough like a hospital room, but something just felt off about them. There was all the normal equipment, but none of the rooms were numbered. We stopped at the end of a hallway in front of a room. This is your stop. The man motioned us into the room. I'll be back in a little bit to escort you 2 outside. When I stepped inside, I saw Ryan laying on the bed. The man walked away. Once I couldn't hear the faint footsteps coming from the hallway, I looked around the room. Will stood frozen just inside, his eyes fixed on Ryan. Are we to Charon's tales now? I think Charon does Ryan.
Hey, guys.
Awesome.
Don't. Will.
Let's see. Let's just bring that down. Because Charon, I don't know. I love working with Charon. I don't know if you do, Dex, but he sends me files that are so quiet.
Hey, guys.
I've got to amplify everything.
Hey, guys.
All right, got that. I don't know if he just like has his mic sensitivity super low or if he's like far away from the mic or what. All right. Oh, 100% agree, Keeper. Absolutely. Voice is phenomenal. It's on Ryan.
Hey, guys.
He wrote something down in a notebook he had on the table next to him. How are you doing? Man, I've got so much background noise tonight. I mean, I think it is storming right now. Where the hell was I? How are you? Ryan motioned to look down at the notebook. Will and I stepped closer to him and read the writing.
Don't talk about anything. Not a hospital. Not real people.
Alright, this might be a little... He sent me his voice lines with a reverb on them. Let me just... Give me a sec. Let me check my email, guys, to see if he also sent me a regular file without... It's usually when people do that, they send you two. It's like one with reverb and one without reverb. I need to see if he sent me one, like, regular. Do a dollop, do a dollop a daisy. Well, I'm not seeing anything. Let me just check Discord.
I've been here for 2 weeks. Don't know where we are, but I've figured out there's no cameras, but there are microphones. Hey guys. Don't talk about anything.
I think that's the only one he sent.
Talk about anything.
Why they so
Not a
sound
hospital.
different there then?
Not real people. Not a hospital. Not real people.
I don't know. I do not know. Alright, minimize that.
Hospital. Not real people.
I sat down.
Did the doctor say how long you've been in here? Did the doctor say how long you've been in here?
Ryan shook his head.
No, they just keep telling me how I'm lucky to be alive. Don't know how I'm the lucky one.
He continued to write in the notebook. Notebook.
Well, I'm glad you're all right.
Ryan motioned down at the notebook again.
Jay,
I've been here for 2 weeks. Don't know where we are, but I've figured out there's no cameras, but there are microphones. Outside to the
Where's the bathroom? Let's see. Delete there. Where's the bathroom?
phones. Outside to the left.
Where's the bathroom?
Outside to the left.
I got up and walked out the door. I looked down the hall to the left and saw the bathroom. Almost immediately after, I took 3 steps out the door and heard from right behind me, "Can I help you?" "Just going to the bathroom." "Can I help you?" the man asked again. I turned to look at him and saw a different man in a suit standing behind me, a blank, uncanny expression on his face. "Why, you want to hold it for me?" I joked. "Can I help you?" "No, sorry," I said before moving back towards the room. "Can I help you?" he said. I backed into the room, not taking my eyes off of him. There was just something that didn't match up. When he asked if he could help me, there was no inflection to his voice reflecting someone asking a question. It was monotone, and his face was expressionless. Before I closed the door to the room, I looked him up and down one last time. The suit he wore seemed more like skin than clothes. It almost looked like something bigger was wearing what used to be a man as a skin suit. His eyes were empty, and his mouth was unnaturally small, yet seemed to be stretched over the bones underneath. "No, thank you," I said. What was weirder was that its mouth barely moved when it spoke. As I moved close to the door, Will looked at the figure in front of me.
Jay, get in here.
Down the hall to the left. Crikey. Down the hall and to the left.
Get in here.
Figure in front of me.
Jay, get in here.
I pushed the door as hard as I could. I briefly saw the figure stick his arm out in an attempt to stop me. I heard the door click shut and reached for the lock. "Fuck," I said. There wasn't a lock where I reached. "Will, do you see a lock anywhere on the door?" I asked. I was pushing with everything I had against the door to keep it closed. Will hurried to my side and reached above me. I heard something slide, followed by a metallic click.
You should be good now.
Followed by a metallic click.
You should be good now.
"Thanks," I sighed. I looked up and saw a metal bar that was secured across the door. I heard my tongue click. Gross.
Good now.
"Thanks," I sighed. Ugh, I've heard tongue clicks there too. Nasty. "Thanks," I sighed. I looked up and saw a metal bar that was secured across the door, preventing it from being opened. I've never seen that in a hospital. Will handed me Ryan's notebook.
Look at...
I looked down, expecting to see a message from Ryan, but saw pages of notes he had been taking. I thought I said talking. I was like, what the fuck? I looked down, expecting to see a message from Ryan, but saw pages of notes he had been taking. I turned to an empty page and wrote, "Help me find the microphones and turn them off." Will and Ryan read it and nodded. The three of us tore the room apart but found 3 microphones. One under the bed, another in the light fixture, and the last one was behind a chair that was mounted to the wall. I looked at Ryan and wrote on the page, "Is there anything we can say that will test if we got all..." Tongue-tied. I looked at Ryan and wrote on the page, "Is there anything we can say that will test if we got all of them?" Ryan nodded and said,
So, can I leave now?
all right, I gotta redo my line because it doesn't flow right. Here we go. Ryan nodded and said, We waited in silence. After about 10 minutes of nothing, Ryan spoke. That is a long fucking 10 minutes of silence. 10 minutes.
I think we're good now.
You know,
If they were still listening,
writers
they
sometimes
would have
say
come by
that.
now.
They'll put like time periods and stuff, and I'm like,
I think we're good.
you know how fucking long 10 minutes is? Or it's like a mom and a daughter will have a serious conversation, and then it'll be like, we sat in silence for 3 minutes before speaking. I'm like, that's a long fucking time to sit in silence next to your mom when you got like a serious thing to talk about.
still listening, they would have come by now.
Holy shit, guys, where the fuck are we? I asked. So many I asked. It's obvious you asked. I don't need to put it, I'm taking that out. Last thing I remember, we were in the forest, and now here. There's a lot of fucking teleportation.
Yeah, and I don't remember seeing a road or even a trail big enough for a car to pick us up. Pick us up.
Excuse me?
We're still in the woods. I remember being...
Ooh, gotta take those clicks out.
I remember being in the ambulance after you guys found me. About 5 minutes after we left, the ambulance stopped. The light inside flickered, and when I looked at the EMTs, they weren't what I thought. Their uniforms fit them like that thing in the hallway. It seemed more like skin. That's when I knew something was wrong. I got to the hospital, and a doctor met us at the door. All he could say was Ryan on repeat. I looked around, and all I could see was trees. The parking lot was just a grass clearing.
Yeah, no kidding, Allie.
Parking lot was just a grass clearing.
What the fuck, man?
They brought me in here and left. After the first couple hours, a suit walked in and introduced himself as Agent Smith. He said that he was with DHS and that I'd be okay. After he left the doctors... After he left the doctors...
Will cut Ryan off. Ryan off.
Wait, what was his name?
He looked at me with anger and... Ryan
took
off.
too long. Wait, what was his name?
He looked at me with anger and confusion in his eyes.
After he left, he said his name was Agent Smith. Why? His name was Agent Smith. Why?
Did he look real or like the others?
He looked real. His suit was actually a suit. Not like the other ones. Suit.
What happened after he left?
Man, it's crazy how long these stories take that have so many collabs and voice actors in them, because we've been doing this shit for like an hour and we're 15 minutes in.
What happened after he left?
The doctors came in and connected me to these machines.
Ryan pointed to the IV tube sticking out of his arm. When I looked closer at the IV, I noticed it wasn't a needle. It was just taped to his skin.
I played along with their game for the first 2 days.
My
After
God,
they started
Dex,
leaving me
my
unsupervised
God.
for hours on end, I tried to escape.
How far did you get?
I got to the front doors. Once I got outside, I noticed there wasn't any sign of civilization.
If anybody
visible.
missed, Dex just played Captain
It was
Slade
like this building was
in
just
the
dropped
latest
deep in the heart of the
video.
forest. I felt like staying here and playing along would be the safer option. But I explored the building before I came back to the room.
Thank you, Allie. Thank you. After watching this process makes me appreciate your work more. Well, thank you for appreciating it. It does take a lot more than people tend to think. That's for sure.
But I explored the building before I came back to the room.
And I don't even add sound effects. So imagine how crazy it takes, how long it takes for the people who do sound effects and ambience and whatnot. So, did you find anything interesting? I asked. I looked at Will, who was obviously deep in his own thoughts.
There's a basement. I went to look down there, but when I opened the door, I heard talking, so I left. I also found the roof access. I was able to get onto the roof without being stopped. I was able to get onto the roof without being stopped. When I looked around, it confirmed my thoughts from the front door. There's a basement. It's from the front door.
Ah, fuck. I'm messing up all my hotkeys here. There we go. I'm new to the whole 2-monitor game, so sometimes I'll think I'm on monitor 1, and then I'll click something on my mouse because I have a gaming mouse and I have 1 through 12 on my thumbs, but I'm still on the other monitor, and then I'll fuck something up on that screen, and I'm like, oops.
From the front door.
When was the last time you saw Agent Smith?
About 2 days ago?
Charon even put a little lip smack in there. That's funny.
About 2 days ago?
How long did you say you've been here?
About 2 weeks. Let me ask you that.
We were just with Smith and watched something huge break him in half. How is that possible? We just woke up a few days ago. Days ago.
Let me ask you that. Let me ask you this. How long was I gone? Was I gone?
About 3 years.
Was I gone?
About 3 years. Why would you write Jay will return?
I could hear the pain in Will's voice when he said it.
For me, it's only been a few months. Time seems to work differently here. I have no idea why or how, but it does.
When I looked closer at Ryan, I noticed something. He didn't look like how we found him. In fact, he looked healthy. Another thing I realized was that he didn't question who I was or why I was here. Maybe it was because I was with Will and he trusted him. But based on everything that has happened to us, I know if I were in his shoes, I'd be questioning everything and everyone. I picked up Ryan's notebook again. Hey Ryan, when did you start writing things down here?
About a day or two after I got in this room. Why?
I flipped to the first page and began skimming the pages. Just trying to get a grasp on this time issue. I'm seeing if there is anything you wrote down that might help. Most of the early pages were just observations. I got to a page titled Day 5 and felt a chill go up my spine. You're the only one that's written in here, right?
Yeah, why?
I showed Will the page, his face turning red.
Why would you write Jay will return over and over and over again?
I did not write that.
Again.
I did not write that.
Ryan said, panic flooding his voice. I grabbed the book and kept looking through the pages. Day 10 was on the top of the last page I looked at. Day 10, I said. I looked at Ryan and could see the mention of this day shot a look of worry across his face. I read out loud, Agent Smith brought visitors today. I paused when I saw the next line. When I began reading again, my anger and confusion were clearly evident in my voice. Will and Jay were brought into the room. They don't know where they are. They didn't stay long because Smith needed to leave and had to take them with them. I looked at Will. I don't remember this, do you? Will shook his head.
Ryan, how many times have we come in here? How did you know?
Ryan sighed.
This is the fourth time.
Was day 10 the first time we met? I asked. Ryan looked at us in shock.
Yeah, why?
How did you know him?
Why?
How did you know his name?
Ryan looked around like he was searching for an answer. Ah, fuck, I didn't fucking highlight another thing. Jeez. You know, I'm still impressed though that I didn't miss that much because this whole story took me like 2.5 hours to highlight.
In the forest.
Like it is very hard to go through a story that's 44,000 words or whatever this is. Let's see. Now I gotta make something up. Ryan stammered. Just then, I heard footsteps approaching. Ryan took off the hospital gown he was wearing and revealed the uniform he wore. It was the same uniform me and Will wore, only it was completely intact. Where did we find you? I asked.
In the forest. It was after I went missing with Will.
Will checked the door.
The lock is still there, so we have some time. Then how did you know about the
He turned back towards Ryan.
have some time? How did you know about
His voice seethed with rage. I saw sweat begin to bead on Ryan's forehead.
Because you guys flagged them down.
Was it just an ambulance? Just an ambulance? I said that weird. Was it just an ambulance? Got a little wambulance. Let's see, wambulance time. Wambulance. Do. Oh, go back. Ryan went from looking nervous to confused. Welcome
Yeah,
to
it
Good
was just an
Burger, home of the
ambulance.
Good Burger. Can I
Do you guys
take
not
your
remember?
order? I don't know why that popped in my head. I looked at Will. He was just as confused as I was. Ryan snatched from confusion to realization.
That wasn't you guys, was it? You guys, was it? Looking back, it was almost like you guys knew the ambulance would be there.
Oh, look,
I tried telling you
Charon
we shouldn't
says
walk on the
ambulance.
trail, but
normal.
both of you insisted
A
it
little
was
bit of
safe.
southern twang messes it up a little bit. Damn, I hear some good thunder now. If the stream disappears, guys, lost power.
So there's land spirits, forest giants, shapeshifters, feds, and ghosts. That's what we've encountered so far. Now we have to worry about mimics?
And I think we're only like $5 or one membership away from the Welcome to Hell sneak peek. Unless I miss one. It's possible I miss one, but I think we're like $5 away.
Mimics?
Is there any way out of here that isn't through the door?
No.
We all looked at each other and nodded. Well, you know what? Actually, let me stop there on this. We'll stop because that's right at the top of the page. We'll stop here. Let's go to Solomon's. Oh, damn! I still got a lot to record on this. I thought I had more done than. I thought I had more done than that. All right. Well, I'm going to start Solomon's Hotel, which I've got 17 minutes done. I'm going to start it up for y'all, and then we're going to maybe finish Solomon's Hotel. Maybe, I think. Let's go ahead and start it up. The body hasn't even gone cold, and the police already called for her. The desperation in the officer's voice on the other end of the line was a far cry from the usual belittling tone she's met with. Solomon's Hotel. Body fitting all your criteria. Please be quick. That was all it took to make her catch the nearest taxi to the prestigious Solomon's. The towering hotel has been a staple of New York since the turn of the century when it was built. An Art Nouveau pillar holding up the dark sky of this rainy night. She'd been able to make it out in the distance by its hundreds of glowing windows illuminating the avenue beneath it. With squeaking brakes and water splashing onto the road as her taxi stops in a puddle, she pulls in front of Solomon's. After a few hushed words with the driver, she's quickly heading up the wet steps towards the front door, hand outstretched to push the revolving door, but something catches her eye. From her left, hidden by the hotel's shadow, stands a police officer, his long black-blue coat hiding him almost completely from sight. "Miss Taylor," he greets, stepping closer and out of the shadow, hand resting on the door's handle before she could reach it herself. "Thank you for coming." His voice is shaky as he leads her into the Solomon's lobby. "We've never seen something like this." She doesn't deign the officer with a response, saving her energy for why she was called here in the first place. There's nothing for her to say. As a result, their march through the Solomons is spent in silence. At such a late hour, only the creaking of the polished pine floorboards and the resounding beat of their boots against them fills the dead air inside the hotel. The labyrinthian hallways and stairs with their ever-repeating patterns of doors and lamps seem to stretch on endlessly. She can hardly tell how much time has passed when finally the officer, his long coat still soaked by the rain, stops in front of an inconspicuous door left slightly ajar. Their boots still, and the policeman turns to face her, gesturing for her to enter. "This way, Miss Taylor. The coroner has arrived. I'll stay here," he says, looking down at the wet imprints he's left behind on the way here. "Wouldn't want to wash anything away." She ignores his comment, simply choosing to grimace at his ignorant lightheartedness as she pushes open the door and comes face to face with the crime scene she was called to look at for. The room is luxurious, spacious enough to be made out of multiple compartments, and yet she can still tell it's one of the hotel's cheaper options. It's obvious in the unpolished scratches in the wooden furniture and the dark corners the few lights don't quite manage to illuminate. A whole troop of officers mingle in the room, low murmurs filling the air along with the unmistakable voice of the coroner coming from what she can only call the room's living room. She pushes forward, through the officers crowding the already tight space, following the coroner's voice, slowly understanding more the closer she gets. "No rigor mortis. Limbs are still somewhat warm. Blood still fluid. How curious." His voice suddenly cuts off as his attention falls to her, eyes darting up from the body on the floor to smile up at her. "Ah, Taylor," he greets enthusiastically, gray beard crinkling as he speaks. "What does the expert make of this?" He gestures broadly at the room's floor, the body and its surroundings laid out before them, eyes shining with a form of morbid amusement. The sight in front of her would be horrifying for a lesser mind. The body of a black-haired, pale man lies on the living room floor, a metal stake thrust deep into his chest. This sight on its own would already be enough to become a burden on any average person, and yet it is not what makes this murder truly horrifying. Surrounding this young man's corpse are runes drawn in blood, a pentagram with dots in each corner along with a circle around it all. She has no response for the coroner, be it from curiosity taking a hold of her or not knowing enough to formulate a statement. She needs to see more. Pushing up her glasses with one hand, she leans down, taking a closer look at the victim. A young man, vaguely European, maybe Irish or Italian. She'd say maybe just past 30 at the highest. His suit appears expensive, a full black herringbone set with a white shirt turned maroon by his own blood beneath it. That brings her to the undeniable murder weapon, the metal stake in his chest. It glints warmly in the room's low light, despite it surely being ice cold even if embedded in the warmth of freshly departed human flesh. Something about it just doesn't look right, though. The coloration of the metal does not appear to be like that of steel or iron. A voice in her head whispers, "Coroner," she addresses the older man leaning over the corpse. "You've got gloves. Pull on the stake for me and tell me how heavy it is." Almost instantly, the coroner's eyes light up and his smile grows sly. "Your trained eye never disappoints, Miss Taylor," he responds, leaning down even further, resting on his hand and feet as his other hand wraps around the stake. "Indeed, heavier than one might imagine, I would guess." "Lead." She cuts him short, already knowing the what he's thinking about. She takes another step forward, intrigued, only for her focus to be broken as her foot steps into something wet. Her eyes fly downward, realizing she stepped onto one of the runes painted around the seal. She recognizes the shape instantly, the Scorpio, the alchemical symbol for separation. But that's not the only thing that draws her attention. No, it's the human ink it's written with. His blood hasn't even fully dried yet, she whispers, astonished. How long has this man been dead? The coroner's attention shifts, the stake forgotten in his hand, eyes locking onto her much like an excited dog. He opens his mouth to answer, holding up one finger, as if to signal she asked a very good question. But instead, another man's voice comes from behind her, its authoritative tone instantly making the coroner snap his mouth shut. Stop standing around. You're ruining the crime scene, the voice booms, followed by a tall man wearing a thin coat and a fedora pushing through the other officers to stand beside her at the edge of the gruesome painting. The man's head swivels from the coroner to her, to the corpse on the ground and back to her. He extends a hand. I'm Amos, lead detective. And you are? She shakes his hand, responding curtly. Taylor, paranormal expert. Amos's face betrays he has thousands of questions, not to mention the slight lift to the corner of his mouth, immediately making clear he's not really taking her seriously. How long has this man been dead? She asks, cutting off any of his possible questions that would only end up embarrassing him. There is no time for this silly game. They have a murder to investigate. To his credit, the detective's face smooths over like a wave beaching on sand, any trace of his humor replaced with a mask of confidence. The front desk called the precinct around 90 minutes ago, he states, attention drifting to the coroner. And that man can tell us. 2 hours? The coroner cries excitedly. This man has been dead for just about 2 hours. That manages to send a jolt through the detective, who turns to face the door leading to the hallway feverishly quickly. This trail is still hot, he exclaims. The murderer may still be here, she extracts, following his train of thought. You said the front desk called this in? The detective nods, already leading the way towards the door. They must remember who gave the tip, and whoever that was may know our killer, she concludes, hot on his heels, leaving the crime scene behind them. As they begin to trek through the Solomon's hallways, the detective's head swivels towards her, his pace not faltering at all. It looks like your expert analysis will have to wait, Miss Taylor, he says, as the ever-same pattern of doors and lamps pass them by. If you catch them now, we won't ever have to see each other again, detective, she allows herself to bite back, knowing he's not being serious about valuing her work. Amos grimaces, shaking his head with a smirk on his face. How can he find something to smile about while investigating such a terrible murder? She has no idea. The Solomon's hallways stretch on endlessly, and somehow it feels like the route back takes even longer than the one to the crime scene. There's an anxiety building in the back of her mind, an uneasiness she can't place, but standing in the middle of a pair of stairs it finally hits her. We didn't use these stairs on the way here, she realizes, looking behind her as if to make sure she's not just imagining things. It's a weird feeling. Looking at the totally normal staircase, its luxurious railings and shiny floorboards, not even a bit out of place for the hotel. But she can't shake the feeling that this is the first time she's seen it. It sends her entire sense of direction reeling. Thinking about it, she also realizes with the way the Solomon is built, a skyscraper constructed snugly between other buildings in downtown New York, there is no way some of these hallways they've taken could have ever been this long without a single turn or bend. Something isn't right here. Amos, however, doesn't seem to notice. He stops and turns to face her, an expression on his face she can only call humoring. The corner of his mouth is slightly upturned and his eyes twinkle with amusement. Your line of work would make anyone paranoid, wouldn't it? He attempts to joke, though it can hardly be called successful, as all he receives is a blank stare of unhidden loathing. He returns to leading the way towards the lobby. You must have taken another route to this crime scene. Nothing to get obsessed about, Let's keep going, he offers up, voice defeated. She hopes it's a sign he stops trying to joke around. She can hear the detective's steps retreating from her already, moving deeper and deeper into the hotel, while she still can't take her eyes off the staircase. It feels like it will vanish the second she turns her back towards it. Miss Taylor, please. There is a killer on the loose. Amos's voice echoes from the other end of the hallway, waiting for her in front of a sharp turn where they lose sight of one another. Her mind wrestles with itself, knowing her intuition won't betray her, but having no evidence to convince the detective of it. She's powerless. With a heavy heart, she rips her gaze away from the staircase, rushing down the hallway to catch up with Amos. The endless pattern of the hotel continues in front of them, and while she only grows more perturbed with every step they take, the detective seems unshakable in his ignorance. However, to his credit, or the fool's luck credit, they do arrive at the Solomon's lobby. The large entrance looks unchanged to when she arrived. The rain still patters against the glass, the red sofas surrounding the coffee table in the waiting area remain unoccupied, and the lone secretary she ignored after entering still sits hunched over a bunch of paperwork at the front desk, too. The detective marches towards the woman with purpose, while the secretary seems hardly to notice. Only as Amos's hands slam onto the fine wooden desk she works at does she look up, eyes jumping up in fear for just a moment before she seems to calm down. "Hello, sir. How can I help you?" the secretary asks diplomatically. Obvious the same spiel she uses on every person that visits her desk. It doesn't surprise her that Amos hasn't introduced himself before, but it certainly doesn't add any merits to her mental image of him. Detective Amos doesn't seem bothered by being mistaken for a guest, choosing to cut straight to the point instead. "You called the local police precinct notifying us about a death in this hotel, correct?" he asks, tone of voice making clear the question is meant to be more rhetorical than anything else. But the girl sitting opposite of them doesn't seem to think so. She stares at Amos with large, fearful eyes, eyebrows creasing as soon as they said the word death. She sputters, trying to form a response. I don't... what? Amos interrupts, barking loudly. "Who gave you the tip? Who told you about the murder in room 66? The secretary looks utterly distraught, blinking wildly as if she tries to remember but just can't. Her forehead creases painfully as she stutters. I don't know. I can't remember. I don't... Fuck! Amos yells, slamming his palm onto the desk once again. "How could you forget?" he demands angrily, and she can tell he's trying hard to keep himself from reaching for the girl's shoulders and shaking her. Tears start to gather in the corners of the girl's eyes, and Taylor shoves the detective aside. "How do we get back to room 66 as fast as possible?" she asks softly. Eyes focus on Amos, reprimanding him for pushing the girl too far too quickly with a deathly stare. The detective simply rolls his eyes in response, grumbling to himself. "The elevator," the girl tells her quietly, after having a hard time to gather herself. "Take the elevator to the 3rd floor and head left." "Thank you," she says, nodding and grabbing the detective's arm to drag him along. "Hey, he protests before she cut him off. "She doesn't know." She ends the discussion, tapping the elevator button feverishly. "We need to get back to the crime scene. If this..." She tries to continue, but her mind turns blank as the glinting steel doors of the elevator are pushed aside, and she gets to peer inside. Behind the door is another hallway, the same long corridor lined with lamps and doors they've wandered before. She sees no end to the hall, stretching on forever until it collapses into darkness. A breathless, disbelieving sigh makes it past Amos's lips. He shakes his head, slowly at first, then faster and faster. The upset over the secretary forgotten, the detective rushes over to the next elevator, smashing his palm against the call button. She hears him murmur. At first, she can hardly make it out. But as the doors begin to open, it grows into a shout she can't understand. "No, no, 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 no!" he cries in frustration, eyes wide with fear. The detective's mask, forged hard by years of service, breaks, and just for a moment, his face looks like that of a child again, faced with the incomprehensible and otherworldly terror he cannot understand. On the other side of the elevator is a spiral staircase extending as high as it is deep. The coldness of the stone steps encloses her like a cloud of smoke, sending a shiver down her spine and seeping into her bones. She keeps her eyes trained on the staircase, desperately willing it to vanish, to close her eyes and be faced with a normal elevator, to not have this become reality. Amos breathes in deeply next to her, needy, too quick to really fill his lungs in any meaningful way. He swivels on his feet, boots squeaking painfully loud as he turns and grips her shoulders. "What is going on, Taylor? What's happening?" he demands, voice shaking from a dangerous mix of apprehension and anger. She struggles to find an answer, failing at even gathering the right words to explain what she thinks is going on. Her mouth opens and closes repeatedly, making her look more like a fish on land than a paranormal expert. All right, I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's pick right up. More like a fish on land than a paranormal expert. A moment of silence passes between them. Amos's arms It's like the storm's getting like really intense out right now. Like there's even some thunder shaking the house, so let's hope the power stays good. A moment of silence passes between them. Amos's arms visibly tensing as a vein on his throat pulses aggressively. Slowly, a sentence begins to form in her mind to try and explain what this could be, but Amos's attention begins to shift once more before she can speak. His head turns towards them. Attention begins to shift once more before she can speak. His head turns towards where there previously His head turns towards where there previously had been solid. It's just a weirdly phrased sentence. I'm just going to read it exactly how it is. Who cares? His head turns towards where there previously had been the Solomon's large window looking out onto the street, his neck seemingly grinding past his spine with how reluctant his head moves. The windows have vanished, as had the entrance. Instead, a naked brick wall with inconspicuous wooden doors placed erratically stands there, some even sitting several meters above the ground, unreachable for anything human. Let me know, too, I am curious, is there anybody in the chat that can almost do, like, I don't know, like, almost do, like, professional kind of editing? Excuse me, on some stories? Because, for anybody who wasn't here earlier, I'm gonna, this could fall dead in the water and you'll never hear about it again. But I think I'm going to try my hand at some like Goosebumps style R.L. Stine, 8 to 12-year-old horror books. Is there anybody in the chat that would be willing to like actually like read these and, or whatever I write and leave like one, help fix grammar and punctuation and stuff like that, but also like leave like very in-depth, constructive notes, spent too much time on this, cut this down, expand on this section. You misremembered, the kid's hair color and you did it incorrectly on, page 27 and 38. Is there anybody in the chat that would be willing if I, send over this stuff that I write later, maybe to take a look at that? That would be very helpful. Not saying it'll happen, but it'd be nice to have it if it does happen. Above the ground, Oh, cool, Cryptid. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. You might be getting some Google Docs from me soon with some stuff, because I'll need some help on, editing, oh, you spent too much time on this, you didn't explain this in depth, cut this whole section out, expand on this section, stuff like that. For anything human. And some even above the ground, unreachable for anything human. No way. Amos breathes out in utter disbelief. Fuck this, no, clip the mic there. Above the ground, unreachable for anything human. No way. Amos breathes out in utter disbelief. His strength leaves his arms, resting limply on her shoulders. Zachary 2? Okay, cool. I'll remember that. Leaves his arms, resting limply on her shoulders. Damn, it is actually getting too loud for me to record anything else. Y'all might not be able to hear it, but my microphone's picking it up. So y'all are going to get... I'm probably not going to record anything else tonight because that thunder is just going nuts right now. So I'm going to go ahead and play that sneak peek for y'all anyways. I think we hit the goal or just got shy of it, so it's all right. I don't mind at all. This is the sneak peek to Welcome to Hell 2, Now Integrate. Yeah, that sounds good, Cryptid. Let's see. I might not be responding because I'm going to go downstairs while this is playing because there's no... So, and I need to leave my phone upstairs because my phone is the hotspot right now, and I took it downstairs earlier, and then I saw the stream buffering. So I won't be responding to comments, but I'll be on my wife's phone reading the comments. So keep talking. You just won't hear back directly from me. But I got half an hour of the Welcome to Hell, or Now Integrate, and that is approximately halfway through. So it's a 11,000 word story. So that will it'll be about an hour and 10 minutes. So we'll go ahead and just listen to that. I knew I was falling before I knew I was dead. There was no wind, no rush of air, no sense of speed, and no distant ground racing up to meet me. There was only darkness and the undeniable knowledge that I was dropping through it. My stomach tightened, my arms jerked outward, grabbing at nothing. I tried to scream, but there was no air in my lungs, or maybe there was no throat for the scream to climb through yet. For a few impossible seconds, I existed as panic without a body. Then memory returned to me in pieces. The hospital, the pressure in my chest, my wife crying beside the bed, a nurse saying something, the ceiling tiles above me losing focus, and my own heartbeat becoming a sound from another room. And then it stopped, and then I died. And the moment I understood all of that, the falling stopped. My body dropped the last few feet and landed hard in a leather armchair. Pain shot up through my spine. Air burst from my mouth. I grabbed the arms of the chair and lurched forward, gasping, blinking, trying to make sense of the room that had appeared around me. It wasn't heaven. That was my first clear thought. The second was worse. It might be hell. The room was dark, damp, and old. The stone walls rose around me, slick with moisture, water sliding down them in slow threads. The lights overhead buzzed weakly, giving everything a tired yellow cast. The air smelled faintly of mildew and sulfur with something stale underneath it. I sat there breathing it in, still gripping the chair, afraid to move and more afraid not to. Directly in front of me was a desk buried beneath paperwork. Folders leaned in stacks, loose pages spilled over the edges, filing trays overflowing, coffee mugs sat everywhere, each one stained black inside. An ancient computer monitor glowed at the center of the mess. Behind the desk sat a demon. There was no gentler word for it. He was enormous, crocodilian, broad through the shoulders with dark green scales, a long snout, and yellow eyes magnified behind thick bifocals. He wore suspenders over a wrinkled dress shirt with the sleeves rolled to the elbows. His claws moved across the keyboard with annoying precision. Above his head, mounted crookily on the stone wall, a red neon sign flickered. Welcome to hell. The demon did not look up. He clicked his mouse 3 times, sighed through his nostrils, typed something, clicked again, then muttered, "No, Majorie, you may not appeal on grounds of spiritual inconvenience. You poisoned 2 husbands and a bridge partner. Enjoy the corrective swamp." He clicked once more, shuffled a paper into a folder, and finally lifted his eyes to me. "Dennis, wonderful. Another expression of total surprise." I stared at him with my surprised face. "Where am I? Am I dead?" "Yes." "Is this hell?" "Technically, no." "Technically?" The demon leaned back in his chair, which groaned beneath him. "This is hell's waiting room. The distinction doesn't matter much, but I'm contractually obligated to be accurate." I looked at the sign again. "It says, 'Welcome to Hell.'" Marketing insisted." "This has got to be a mistake," I said. I had the immediate impression he had heard those exact words more often than anyone in existence. "Of course it is. Every soul says that. Nobody arrives and says, 'Ah, yes, fair enough.' They all come in with paperwork they never filled out and confidence they didn't earn." No, you don't understand. I was a Christian." "Were you?" "Yeah, I believed in God." "How marvelous for you." "I thought I was going to heaven." At that, he rolled both eyes so dramatically I thought they might disappear into the back of his skull. Then, with no warning, a long reptilian tongue slid out of his mouth and swept across both eyes. I recoiled in horror. "God!" "Wrong one." What was that?" "I don't have any tear ducts. The scales and bifocals are a wretched combination. Would you prefer I blinked politely and suffered in silence?" "I'd prefer not to be here." "And I'd prefer a staff of competent assistants and a chair that doesn't smell faintly of monk. Life disappoints. Death continues that tradition." I tried to steady my breathing. "I'm telling you, man, I believed in God, I prayed, I went to church." The demon folded his claws on the desk. "Would that God happen to be Anu?" I stared at him. "Who?" He shut his eyes again, this time with deeper exhaustion. "Anu, Father of the gods, Lord of the heavens, source of all divine authority, true ruler of the cosmos. Very old, very important, not currently enjoying strong brand recognition." "I've never heard of him." That has been a persistent problem. Tremendous authority, terrible outreach." "You're telling me the one true God is someone nobody even worships anymore?" "Yep. Old Mesopotamian deity." "That's insane." "It's theology. The two frequently overlap." I sat back, feeling cold despite the damp heat of the room. "So everyone got it wrong?" "Not everyone. There are always a few. Anu has his loyalists. Small group, though." "This can't be how it works." "And yet, observe that it is working." I looked again at the miserable office, the stained mugs, the flickering lights, the endless paperwork. The red neon sign? This is hell? A dingy office with bad lighting? The demon laughed. It was a harsh grinding sound that filled the room and shook a few papers loose from the nearest stack. Ah, Dennis. Again, technically not hell. It's the waiting room or administration. What are you then? Sardonyx. Intake administrator. Third receiving office. Western soul distribution arm. Occasional unwilling therapist. Full-time witness to mankind's magnificent inability to choose the right God. You decide where I go? I process your assignment. So what happens now? Now, we determine what sort of hell best suits your educational, spiritual deficiencies. Deficiencies? Yes. Hell is not a punishment. Not in the old shouting and pitchforks and fire and brimstone ways, although some do get that. Hell is correction, purification, instruction. You arrive with your soul carrying defects, and those defects must be addressed before paradise can receive you. So I'm being punished. He tapped one claw on the desk. You are being taught. Punishment is not quite the same. Punishment requires that you suffer. Education requires that you change. And when I learn, you ascend. To heaven? Yes. With God? With Anu. Do try to keep up. What if I don't learn? Then you remain until you do. How long? That depends on how deeply attached you are to those spiritual defects. He continued more quietly now, though the sarcasm never fully left. Every soul reaches paradise eventually. Every one. No one is abandoned. No one is forgotten. Some arrive, recognize themselves quickly, and move on in a century. Others require thousands of years, millions, billions on occasion. Stubbornness is the one human invention that truly impresses the divine. The thought of that much time struck me harder than the word hell had. Billions? Rare, but not unheard of. You should meet the tyrants. Actually, no, you shouldn't. Most of them are your world history leaders, and the other ones are usually on the HOA committee. I sat there dumbly, not knowing how to respond. What did I do to deserve this? I asked. Tell me, did you feel connected to people when you were alive? The question unsettled me. What does that mean? It's a simple question, Dennis. I have already simplified it from the original divine phrasing, which involved 17 clauses and a reference to clay vessels. I had people. That's not what I asked. I looked away from him. The truth was that I spent most of my life surrounded and somehow separate. I had a family, friends more or less, co-workers who invited me to things, a church where people knew my name and shook my hand every Sunday. I wasn't lonely in the obvious way. I had never lived in complete isolation, never gone months without conversation, never been the kind of man people worried about because nobody had seen him lately. But connection had always seemed to happen around me rather than inside me. I don't know. Sardonyx waited, I always felt like other people had instructions I didn't get. Like everyone understood something basic about being human and I was pretending. Family gatherings, church dinners, parties, work meetings. I could do them. I knew what to say, but it felt like acting. Were you unhappy? Not exactly. Lonely? Not exactly. The saddest category. Not enough pain to demand repair, not enough joy to call it living. I looked up at him sharply. He was clicking away. What are you doing? Listening. No, you're typing. I contain multitudes. His attention sharpened on the monitor. One claw rested on the mouse, the other on the keyboard. He clicked back and forth through several screens. The slow smile that spread across his snout made my stomach tighten. What? I said. He kept reading. Sardonyx? Oh, Dennis, he said at last. My friend. I don't like that. What did you find? I think I have the place just for you. I gripped the arms of my chair again. What place? A very effective arrangement, used in many forms across the millennia for souls carrying your particular wound. Those who felt outside, separate, unclaimed by the human family. People who spent their lives convinced belonging was something that they didn't need to actually do. I said nothing. The words were too close. It isn't pleasant, but it has produced wonderful results. Eventually. Please don't let it be fire and brimstone. Please don't let it be fire and brimstone. I can't. I don't want to burn. Sardonyx waved a claw. Oh, nothing so pedestrian. Fire has its uses, but your problem is not flammability. I let out a breath and sank back into the chair. Relief hit me so quickly it almost made me dizzy. Oh, thank God. Sardonyx stared. Oh, right. Thank Anu. Progress already, my friend. So, where am I going? He looked back at the screen and chuckled. An apartment complex. Apartment complex? Yes. That's it? Sardonyx looked over the top of his bifocals. That is a dangerous phrase in my line of work, my friend. I'm serious. So am I. Never underestimate the universe's ability to make the ordinary educational. You're sending me to an apartment. A very nice one, from what I've been told. Central air, responsive maintenance, community events. Quite civilized. You're messing with me. Dennis, I have processed approximately 912 million souls. I stopped messing with people a very long time ago. Will I be alone? You'll have neighbors. I will? Thousands of them. Thousands? Potentially millions, depending on how adventurous you become. I felt my stomach tighten. Wait, what do you mean by... Sardonyx clicked his mouse. I arrived in the apartment building in another burst of gray smoke and almost fell over. For a second, I stood there coughing, waving my hands in front of my face, expecting heat, screams, chains, anything that might justify the word hell. Instead, I found myself in a lobby so large that my mind refused to accept it as a room. The ceiling rose hundreds of feet above me, layered with balconies and walkways and hanging lights that disappeared into a bright haze near the top. Marble floors stretched outward in every direction, polished to a shine by the movement of countless feet. Massive pillars held up the levels above, each one wider than a house. Far off, fountains poured water into circular basins, and beyond them were reception desks, seating areas, elevators, staircases, kiosks, signs, and streams of people moving through it all with the ordinary impatience of commuters. That was the strange part. The people. After Sardonyx's office, after that damp little room and the dead quiet between sentences, the noise hit me hard. Voices overlapped in dozens of languages. Shoes struck marble. People laughed. Someone cursed. Someone sang. A group of men in robes argued loudly near a directory. A woman in a business suit hurried past me while speaking into a phone. Two guys chased each other around a pillar until an old man shouted at them to stop running. For the first time since dying, I was surrounded by souls, and the sheer normality of them made me feel less comforted than invaded. I turned in place, trying to understand the size of the building, but there was no clear edge to it. The lobby extended too far. Every direction contained more motion, more entrances, more elevators, more lines of people, and more doors leading elsewhere. Hell apparently had crowd control. A large reception desk stood near the center of the lobby, or what I assumed was the center. Behind it sat a man in a dark suit with silvered hair, combed neatly back and hands folded on the counter. He looked almost human, except for the stillness. His face was pleasant without being warm and patient without being kind. When I approached, he looked up before I spoke. "Dennis Harlow," he said. "How do you know my name?" "You have an appointment." "I didn't make one." "No one does." "Where am I?" "You are in hell. More specifically, Residential Complex 9. You have been assigned a permanent residence pending spiritual correction and eventual ascension." "Permanent residence?" "Until you learn what you are here to learn." "How long does that take?" "That varies." "Give me an estimate." "Some stay thousands of years, some stay several million. There are some extreme outliers on the longer side. The building does not release statistics because residents respond poorly to averages." "Several million?" "It is best not to compare yourself to others." "That's easy for you to say." "It is, yes." He looked down at a file that had not been on the desk a moment before, turned one page, and slid a key across the counter. "You will be on floor 8703. I waited for him to correct himself. He didn't. "I'm sorry, what floor?" 8703. "There are 8,000 floors?" "There are considerably more than 8,000 floors." My mouth opened, then closed. How many more?" "That information is not available to you at this time." I looked toward the elevators and back at him. 8,703 is high. "Many residents would consider that near the ground." "This is insane," I said. "What exactly am I supposed to learn here?" "That is for you to discover. If souls could be told their flaws and corrected them immediately, hell would be unnecessary." Before I could ask another question, a small reptilian bellhop appeared beside me with a brass luggage cart, though I had no luggage. He wore a red uniform with gold trim and a little cap balanced between two ridges on his head. A key ring hung from one clawed finger. "Mr. Harrow, I'll show you to your apartment." "Try to get along with your neighbors. You'll be seeing them for a very long time." I didn't like the way he said that. I followed the bellhop toward a bank of elevators set into the far wall of the lobby. There were dozens of them, maybe hundreds, some opening and closing constantly, some rising behind glass fronts already packed with new arrivals and attendants. Mine had a clear front and polished brass doors. The bellhop stepped inside, tapped a panel, and entered my floor number with quick practice movements. The doors closed. The elevator began to rise. At first, I expected a normal ascent. The brief pressure in the legs, the passing floors, and the ding. But this elevator moved with maddening patience. The lobby dropped away beneath us, slowly revealing a vast interior I had not understood from the ground. Above the main floor were open levels arranged around enormous courtyards, and each level was not a hallway or landing but a world. I pressed my hands to the glass. We rose past a broad common area lined with market stalls and low buildings. People in linen robes moved among them. Beyond that was a temple courtyard where figures knelt before statues I did not recognize. Higher still was a place of stone streets and painted columns, where men in tunics argued and clusters and women carried baskets through a square. Then came another level with tiled roofs, another with smoke drifting from workshops, another with narrow streets and lanterns, another with lawns and iron fences and horse-drawn carriages moving along impossible indoor roads. "What am I looking at?" I asked. "The building," the bellhop said. "I can see that. No, I mean all of this. These people, these places." "The complex houses souls from every civilization that has ever existed. Similar cultures and eras are often grouped within incompatible floors, though there are exceptions. Each level contains a common area designed to reflect the practices, habits, and expectations of those assigned there." "They just keep living?" "Many do. They work, build friendships, argue, worship, marry, open restaurants, start clubs, complain about noise. People continue being people." We passed what looked like a medieval village centered around a church in a muddy square, though there was no mud on the elevator glass. Above it came a space filled with tents and fire pits where men and women dressed in animal hides and sat around cooking fires. Above that, a floor where men in armor trained in formation while children watched from a rail. Higher still, something more modern, all brick buildings and factory roofs and crowds moving beneath electric signs. I saw Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, farmers, soldiers, priests, merchants, men with powdered wigs, women in long dresses, people in suits, people in furs, people with painted faces, and people from cultures I could not place and had no name for. Every floor held a civilization in motion. Every courtyard contained daily life continuing beyond death, not frozen but extended. Men, women, children, teenagers, people of all ages. It should have been beautiful. In some way it was. But there was terror in the scale of it, in the thought that all of humanity had been gathered, sorted, stacked, and set loose inside a building with no visible end. "How tall is this place?" The bellhop didn't answer immediately. "I don't know." "You work here?" "Yeah." "And you don't know?" "I've been as high as floor 70,000. My stomach tightened. "I have never seen the top. No one I know has seen it either. Not in person." The elevator kept climbing. Floor after floor slipped past the glass. Towns, cities, villages, gardens, districts, temples, factories, theaters, farms, all arranged inside the impossible body of the building. At last, after what felt like hours, the elevator slowed. "Floor 8,703, the bellhop said. I let out a breath. "One more thing. Elevators are for new arrivals only. From this point on, residents use stairs, unless otherwise authorized." "Stairs?" "Yeah." "To go down?" "To go anywhere between floors." As long as those floors are within the civilization you've been assigned to. The rear doors opened into a long hallway with patterned carpet, warm lighting, and apartment doors stretching in both directions. Compared to the worlds below, it was almost disappointingly normal. Still, there were sounds behind the doors. Music, footsteps, a burst of laughter, someone speaking angrily, a television, dishes clattering, lives taking place inches away from me. Real neighbors. The bellhop checked the key tag and led me down the corridor. We walked long enough for the hallway to begin feeling larger than it first appeared. Eventually, he stopped at a door marked 8703 19C and handed me my key. "This is yours." I took it, still staring at the number. I still have questions. Everyone does. What am I supposed to do first? Settle in. What about floors? What about the people? What about getting out? The bellhop lifted one claw. Questions permitted to be answered may be answered by your television. My television? Yeah. I don't understand. He gave a polite little bow, turned and walked back down the hall before I could stop him. I stood there alone, key in hand, surrounded by muffled signs of other people's existence. Then I unlocked the door. The apartment was ordinary. That was tough for me to deal with. A living room with a couch and coffee table, a small kitchen, a bedroom visible through an open doorway, a bathroom, lamps, curtains, a television mounted on the wall. It looked clean, comfortable, and completely sane. Nothing about it screamed. Nothing burned, nothing bled, no chains hung from the ceiling, no demons waited in the corners. I walked to the couch and sat down heavily. For the first time since arriving in the building, silence returned. I looked around the apartment, at the kitchen I hadn't chosen, the bedroom where I was apparently expected to sleep, the television that might or might not answer questions about my damnation, and I understood with a slow, sinking certainty that however long I stayed here, this was no temporary room. This was home. I sat on that couch for a long time after the bellhop left, waiting for the apartment to reveal whatever made it hell. Nothing happened. The longer videos, yeah, I mean, they're going to be a lot of work. Like, but it depends if they're a collaboration or not. If it's just me, so like, with that video Cheesy's World that I put out a couple weeks ago, that was a 2-hour video, and all in all, that probably took, let's see, 2 hours is at least 3 hours of reading, exporting. So much time gets caught up in exporting, especially if a song gets copyright hit, because then I have to re-export. I have to take the song out all the way in the original form, re-export the whole thing, and re-upload it. So yeah, a 2-hour video. All right, let's say like the Elijah stories. Usually there's only just my voice in that. I think there was a 2-hour Elijah story I did, and that one took, not including writing it, because writing that took a long time. But just reading it and uploading it 2 hours. That was probably 2-hour story. That was probably about 12 hours of work. Probably around 12 hours. The Cheesy's World, that was 2 hours long. That one didn't take that long. I read that on stream, and I kind of just read like the whole thing on stream almost. And I took very little breaks. That probably took about 8 hours of work. Something like that, yeah. All right, let's see. So it'll be about 10 minutes until I pack the stream up. I want to probably cut it right at like 10 minutes, 10 minutes and 5. Let me just show y'all what I've been working on. It's only like 800 words, whatever. What's the word count? 1,000. This is, and the next Elijah story, Nikki, I just have no idea. I've got most of it written. It's just, they're long stories. I make those at least 1 hour long. I try to make them longer than that. I don't know when that'll come out. Joey, he's a very, very big patron. He sent me a good amount of money on PayPal to put Candy in that story. So we can thank Joe Frontier. He's a very big patron, really big supporter, and he helps me out financially a lot. And when you see like a bunch of Elijahs come out, it's because he's basically, sometimes Joey will pay me a decent amount of money, and then I can take that entire day off from work and just write. Which I can get a lot of work done if I do nothing but just write. When I don't have that, I have to write 30 minutes here, 20 minutes there, an hour there. So Joey's a really big help, and he's been a big supporter on the channel for a while. And like I said, we can thank Joey for Candy, his dog, Elijah's dog, who's now integral to every adventure God sends Elijah on. Now I wrote all of this today, so nothing's been edited. I haven't gone back. I haven't done anything. This is like the thank you, Cryptid. Thank you for the 10 jewels. That's awesome. This is just a sneak peek of the little Goosebumps-esque thing I've been working on. I can't wait to get on the Gravitron, I said with excitement as my dad pulled us into the vast, sprawling parking lot of our state fair. Although calling it a parking lot was a bit of a stretch. The tires sputtered for a moment as they lost traction in the grass and mud. The parking lot was just a vast field of land that was pretty much used just for this purpose. The fair comes into town once a year in the fall and stays for 2 weeks. We actually came a bit early this year, making it in the first 5 days. Oh, I don't know, Kyle. The Gravitron makes me sick just thinking about it, my younger brother said with a look of distaste on his face. James is 8 years old, and he hasn't quite built up a tolerance like myself. It's only fair, I guess. I've got 4 more years on him, with myself coming in at 12 years old. All right, everybody out, my dad told us, and try not to slip in the grass. We all stepped out of the van and into the night. I looked up and saw the moon making its slow ascent across the sky, full and bright yellow tonight. We walked down to the fair entrance. It was bright with flashing lights of all colors, the most predominant ones being deep and bright reds of different shades. A clown with a puffy hair, face paint, and a bright red nose on stilts walked by the lines of people while pumping up animal balloons. He must have been near 10 feet tall, and he walked with such ease I could hardly believe it. We inched up in lines, already saw typo. We inched up in line 1 person at a time until we were at the ticket booth. How many, sir? Came a deep and gravelly voice. I peered around my dad's shoulder to get a look at the man. He had a fat face with jowls and a red stubby nose. A long pointed chin seemed to look right at me as he shifted his gaze in my direction. 1 sec, let me check chat. Nice. I wondered how you managed to get the time. Thanks, Joey. I love that dog. I nearly cried when I thought he was dead. That was even just like sad for me to write because I've had so many dogs in my life, and then I had to kill the dog, but then in the story God brings him back. But that was even sad for me to write that. I was like, geez. And Candy was Joey's. Joey's a veteran. Joey is a veteran, and Candy was his. What do you call him? You know what I'm talking about? His help dog. I'm forgetting the word right now. Candy was his dog for that. And she passed a few years ago. And Joey messaged me on Patreon maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and was like, hey man, I was wondering if you could use my dog's name in a story. Her name was Candy. She was my help dog. It's not emotional support animal because she actually had like a real title. And he's like, could you just write her name into a character, make her name into a character? And I was like, hey man, if it's okay with you, I would love to write an actual dog into the story and name her Candy. And he's like, that would be incredible. And I was like, give me some information on her. Tell me what kind of dog she was. Give me some descriptions on her. His dog, Candy, was a border collie, I think, of some kind. I had to make the dog a German Shepherd in the story because a border collie is kind of a small dog, so it can't really fight that well. So I asked him, can I make the dog a German Shepherd? And he said, yeah. But I kept her description the same, the color of her coat the same, and she even has like cataracts in real life, and Candy in the story has like a milky eye. So I kept all that the same. A service animal, thank you. Yeah, thanks Dex, thanks Cryptid. Service dog, yep, Zach. And he was so happy. So Candy is a part of the Elijah universe. Oh wow, that's incredible, Cryptid. I can't believe they can train dogs to do that stuff. He had a fat face with jowls and a red stubby nose. A long pointed chin seemed to look right at me as he shifted his gaze in my direction. I instinctively ducked behind my dad. That'll be 4 for the family, my dad said as he put his arm around my mom's shoulders. 2 adults and 2 kid tickets, if you please. Oh, I'm pleased, all right. We love to welcome families into the state fair, the man said, as he licked his thin lips and tilted his head to the side to try and get a better look at me. I stayed hidden as best I could, though I could feel his eyes burning a hole in my direction. I heard the man rip off our ticket stubs as my dad handed him the money. My dad passed out the tickets to us and we sauntered on by. I told myself I wasn't going to let the weird guy at the booth put a damper on my night. I had been waiting all year for this. I loved the fair and all of the mystery and excitement it brings. It didn't take long for me to completely forget about the Ticketmaster as we strolled into the fair. The lights, the music, the sound. Everything about it was incredible. The lights dazzled as we walked by. The music boomed from hidden speakers throughout, playing sounds that instantly put you in a jovial and carefree mood. The sound of others mingling and laughing made you want to join them. My dad pulled out his old flip phone. I hadn't gotten a cell phone yet. My parents said I could get one when I was old enough. My parents said I could get one when I was old enough to pay for one with my own money, which would probably be a few years, since I don't even know if a 12-year-old can get a job without breaking some kind of child labor law. I could always cut grass and rake leaves for neighbors, though, I guess. Let's see. Jowls is creepy as fuck. Jowls guy. I'll see you, Allie. Have a great week. Anyone else? Do y'all have any thought on Jordan Group channel? Jordan Group, amazing author. Not a fan of his narration. That's all. Awesome, cool guy. Amazing author. One of the goats on No Sleep. I just don't like his voice, but that it's all personal. Let's see. Well, you two, Jenny and Brandon are here. Their parents said to meet them at the Ferris wheel. Let's get a move on. We all picked up our pace a bit to keep up with my dad. My parents wanted to be rid of us just as bad. Oh, there's another typo. My parents wanted to be rid of us just as bad as my little brother and I wanted to be rid of them. Don't get me wrong. My parents loved us and everything, but this was a night out for my brother and I just as much as it was a night out for my mom and dad, and they wanted their freedom and alone time too. On our way to the Ferris wheel, we passed all kinds of sights you only got to see at the fair. A man in a purple suit and a top hat playing a piano on wheels. A woman with a small monkey on her shoulder climbing all around, and 2 men juggling bowling pins that were on fire back and forth with 2 large knives thrown in for good measure. I saw the Ferris wheel towering above to our left. We turned at the end of the path and were greeted by Jenny and Brandon's parents just at the base of the ride. "Kyle!" I heard an excited and high-pitched voice shout out. "It's about time y'all got here." I gave Jenny a hug and Brandon a high five. "What's up, guys?" I asked. "Oh, not much. Can't wait to ditch these ones, though," Brandon said under his breath as he used his thumb to discreetly point at his parents. His dad wasn't so easily tricked, though. All right. We can all split up now," their dad said. "I want everyone to meet back here at 11 o'clock tonight, and not a minute later." "Yes, sir," Brandon and Jenny chimed in together, their voices sinking. Brandon and Jenny are both 12, just like me. They're fraternal twins, but couldn't be more different than one another. There's another typo. Yeah, I wrote this today. Let's see. Jenny was born 5 minutes before Brandon, and it shows. Jenny is wise beyond her years and much more cautious than her brother. She has dark blonde, forgot to say hair. She has dark blonde hair that she usually keeps tied back into a ponytail. With a light smattering of freckles across her cheeks and spending all of her time in the sun. Brandon is athletic from playing every sport he can, with dark, short brown hair and coming in at a couple inches taller than myself. Let's see. Yeah, Nikki, listen, I can't stand his voice. His voice is nails on a chalkboard for me. But his story is, his writing is top tier. Let's see. So this story, see how it's, the paragraphs are short, everything's, to the point. I'm emulating R.L. Stine here. And when you look at a Goosebump book, paragraphs are like a couple sentences. There's a lot of exclamation points. Chapters, chapters are like 3 pages long. He's constantly doing chapters. Everything ends on like a high note or a scare. This story is titled "Don't Open That Door." So these kids, for what I have on the outline so far, I got 4 chapters outlined, and I have the gist of the story in mind. But it'll be probably like 20-ish chapters, like R.L. Stine books are, and 3 to 4 pages a chapter kind of thing. It's about a kid and his young brother, so Kyle and James. Kyle's the older brother. It's written from Kyle's perspective. And he goes to the fair. Also, too, you'll notice how they meet up, the kids, and then the parents just pawn them off. In every Goosebump books, there's almost no real grown-ups around. It's about the kids going through the adventure themselves, or if there are grown-ups don't believe them. So it's usually, if grown-ups are there, no one believes them, and sometimes grown-ups aren't even there at all, and the kids are doing this all on their own. So I had to figure out a way to separate them from the adults that they know, which is the parents pawn them off, and the kids do what they want. And in this story, Kyle is going to win a key from a carny at a game booth. And at first he's like, what the fuck is it? I just got a key? Come on, that's whack. But he's going to find out that this key, when he puts it into doors, and they'll all go on this adventure together, the key actually opens. When you put this key into a door and open that door, it basically brings you into other worlds. When the first few worlds are going to be peaceful, awesome, beautiful, amazing. The kids are going to go on some adventures, and then eventually they're going to go on into a world that's going to be fucked up, crazy, monsters. And I still haven't figured out exactly what I want to do. I don't know if I want them to go into one of these monster worlds and then somehow get separated from the door they opened, and they get chased around or something, and then they got to find their way back to the door and avoid the monsters, and there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff they got to avoid. So I don't know if I want the bulk of the story to take place inside of this monster world, and then the book is them trying to get back out into their world, or if I want them to go into a monster world, spend a few minutes in there, then get chased out, but before they close the door and they think that world's done, but right when they close, something just sneaks right in, and then something's going to sneak back into the human world, and then it's going to terrorize them in the human world, and they have to find a way to put it back somewhere else. I don't know which one I want to go with yet, so this is just the beginning. I don't know which one. It'll be fun to decide. I've got the first 4 or 5 chapters outlined. And then I just got to figure out like the Goosebumps style is very specific. Every chapter ends on a scare, but then half of them are like fake scares, because in the next chapter it immediately is like, oh no, where did my brother go? I lost him. And the next chapter is like, oh, there he is. He was hiding behind, I found him in line at the popcorn stall, So a lot of them are fake scares. Some of them are real scares. And some of them are like, and then I turned the corner and I was met with this demon. And it grabbed me. And then that's the end of the chapter. And then the next chapter is like, oh, the demon was actually just a fair worker with makeup on and a mask, So I got to figure out how I want the rest of this story to go. I'm leaning more partial towards them going into a monster world and then getting stuck there, and then the bulk of the book, them trying to fight their way back to the real world. Let's see. Yep, alright. We are coming in now at 10 o'clock. Man, I cannot believe that storm is still going outside. Alright, so y'all got the sneak peek at Solomon's Hotel and Welcome to Hell Part 2. Solomon's Hotel, I think, is what's going to be released tomorrow. And then I'm going to try. It wasn't blood on his face. It was just feces. Yeah, harmless in the end. After cliffhanger. Gosh. I'm going to try this month to release a story nearly every day. I would like to do every day, but we'll see. We'll see if every day is too much for me or not, because I like to do the longer stories. So if I was a creepypasta channel that put out 20-minute stories, a story every day would be so easy. But those don't get views. They don't get views. I'll put out a 20-minute story and it gets like 700 views, and I'm like, gosh, that's it. So I'm gonna try a story every day. We'll see. There might be some 30-minute ones thrown in there, but I'm still gonna do my long ones, and hopefully Tribal Officer gets put out. I don't know. Hopefully. I know I said in the video, at the end of the video last week, Tribal Officer will come out this week. I just don't know if I can. I mean, I was hoping tonight that we were going to get like an hour into it, and we're only 20 minutes in. And look at this. We're on page 54 out of 94. So this is a long story. Yeah, I know. It's such a shame, Dex, too, because one, that That Bigfoot story is so fucking good. If y'all haven't listened to it, check Dex out and go to that Bigfoot story. It's phenomenal. One, the story is just cool as fuck, and then Dex also just put some really cool ass sound effects in there, and the voice acting is awesome. It's a shame, man. Yeah, the 20-minute stories just don't do well, and I understand why. People want to click on a video that's long. That's why my channel kind of specializes in that like 45 to hour and a half minute stories. And say I'm averaging like 3,000 or 4,000 a video. Just say it's 4,000 a video. You put out a 20-minute story, and it will legitimately get like 30% the views that your normal ones get. You know, I'm like, oh wow, 800 views. That's lovely. It only took me 3 hours to make, and I get 800 views on it, which is like, I don't know, $7. But yeah, I will keep y'all updated on check for updates every live stream for this story that I'm writing. It's a lot different. The style is a lot different than writing normal, so I've got to adjust to that. Plus, you know, these aren't going to be as cool. These are going to be very kiddie, because this is stuff for 8 to 12-year-olds. That kind of thing. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I make some good progress. I would love to be at 7,000 words next week. If I can do 1,000 words a day on this, that'd be awesome. I did 1,000 words today. If I can keep that up, that'd be sweet. This was very easy to write because this was all going to the fair and my own experiences. I'll probably start hitting a slow spot once we get to the actual action. I'm off to bed. Good night, everyone. Good night, Nikki. I'm about to go to bed too. Well, I'm about to just get off for the night and then spend some time with my baby girl. Let's see. Yeah, I think Solomon Hotel comes out tomorrow. Hell's Waiting Room will come out in a couple days, sometime this week. I'll probably finish recording both of these tomorrow, and then I gotta get some stories lined up. I gotta get some permission. I gotta ask some authors some stuff. We'll see how it goes. But everybody, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate y'all being here tonight. I love hanging out with every one of y'all. It's a blast for me. I really enjoy it. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for keeping the chat active. And thank you, everybody, for the donations. It really means a ton to me. It helps me take today off. Otherwise, I'd be working 6 days a week. That's what I usually work 6 days a week. Now I get to take Mondays off, which is really cool. I kind of take a half day on Tuesday because Tuesday is my bowling night. I don't know if y'all know, I'm a bit of a good bowler. I'm not going to lie. I average about 200. Which is, if you don't bowl, is really good. Now, there are plenty of people way better than me, but 200 is pretty good as far as averages. Right now, I'm in a pro oil pattern league, and, I average 170 in that, but it's because you're playing on professional oil patterns that the pros play on, and 170 is a very good average in that league. I mean, I think in that league, the average is 120, and I'm 50 pins above that. Yeah, 3 hours. Honestly, I'd do these for 4 or 5 hours, but I got to get to my girls, my wife and daughter. We got Bowling McGee over here. My high score is 298. I've had 3 12-strike games, which means that 3 times I've been 1 strike away from a 300. Super buzzkill. I think my high scores are 298, 285, and 289 or something like that. But thanks everybody. I will be back here again Monday. I might even throw a surprise stream sometime this week in here. Maybe, I don't know, because I like to work on Tribal Officer during the lives. That I enjoyed doing the Tribal Officer during the lives, and I've got to do a lot of work on this. So I might be doing a surprise stream sometime this week, but we'll see. Everybody, Thank you so much for being here. Manic, Dexter, El Degusto, Cisco, Nikki London, Mandizzle, Nikki, Shalom, my friend. I know I'm forgetting a few in here. Please forgive me. Ooh, that was a good thunder strike right there. Damn, I love thunder. Zachary, alley-oops, everybody. Thanks for being here. And as always, thanks for listening, everybody.